I totally was dancing.
I was like doing my windshield wiper because I can't dance, but so
That's right. They only see this much of us, so they don't really know if we can dance or not. It's fine.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
I mean, y'all know I can dance, so like I'm leaving nothing to the imagination. This is the extent of the movement. So that's all I got.
I love it. Welcome, everybody. How y'all doing? How are things? Happy Friday or whatever your day of the week you're watching this.
Yeah. I'm drinking a coffee. I don't know if you're drinking anything good.
You're drinking a coffee right now?
Well, decaf. A decaf coffee.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of
does caffeine not keep you up?
No. It doesn't affect me at all.
Gosh.
So
because in the afternoon, having a nice warm cup of coffee.
Yep.
Keep me up.
Cozy.
Yeah.
It's raining here too, so it's very like comfy, cozy vibes. Sweatshirt, coffee, blanket. Even though it's not cold, but it's like a cozy study sesh kind of weather here.
I love that. Oh, look, guys. Look who is here. Susan. Susan is here, my trainer and my friend. We love her. She's going to
you're gonna lose it.
She's gonna rage.
Yep. Oh my God.
Yeah, I guess we should get this started. In case you're new to my channel, my name is Erin Bees. I am a wife, a mom, a military veteran. And a soon-to-be certified personal trainer. Forgot that part. And I spent 13 and a half years in multi-level marketing, healed my way out, and now I'm using all my social media platforms to educate and raise awareness around the dangers of multi-level marketing companies and the tactics used by the reps. And this is my friend DeeCee. How do y'all not know DeeCee? DeeCee, you want to introduce yourself to everybody? Say hello.
Okay. I'm DeeCee. I'm an MLM dropout. I've been battling MLMs and technical difficulties since 2022. And I'm still doing the same thing today. And I'm married. I have a dog. My husband is stationed in another country right now, so I've got lots of time to stream and to try to sneak in and infiltrate and uncover all the fluffery going on in multi-level marketing. And I'm happy to be here today.
I'm happy you're here too. She is a techie genius. I'm going to say it. She won't say it, but I'm going to say it. And let me run the disclaimer and we'll be right back. So hang on. Okay. That wasn't the most smooth transition, but I'm working with a new layout. So we're going to roll with it until I get my Stream Deck figured out.
Anytime it has been hard for me is because I'm not committed.
It's playing already. My apologies.
You're good. The music's a vibe. The layout's a vibe. Now listen, every time I watch one of Erin's streams, I'm always like, I want to see what Erin is shading the content with her facial expressions. So like, I'm stoked that we can see Erin's faces. They're unmatched on the internet. So
thank you.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
I'm trying to match your background.
Oh, you're fancy. You're so fancy with your lights.
But I want some green in it too, though. That doesn't really show up.
Add a little friend to your light setup. It's pretty close though. I think you match the blues and the purples exactly.
Okay, we'll go with that. Wait, did I do this one? Yeah, we'll just roll with that. Okay, so before we get started, we have a little bit of housekeeping. Do we want to call it housekeeping, DeeCee?
Yeah.
Little housekeeping that I would like to address on my channel because it's not something that I have addressed. And DeeCee and I spoke privately about it. And might need a second light for your background. I know, I might need more light. And to me, safety of the audience is important, and like I said, DeeCee and I have talked about this privately, and what I would like to address publicly, since we are here and collaborating, and I'm so glad that we are here, the bomb party situation. I don't know what do I want to call that, DeeCee? Situation?
Situation's fine with me.
Okay. And so DeeCee is going to briefly speak on that, and then we're going to get to roasting Doug and Thea. Are y'all cool with that?
Yeah, I mean, I hope live chat's cool with that.
They'll be cool with that.
So I've been, I would have been actively like advocating against MLMs and their unethical practices since 2022 when I got out, thanks to Aaron's Discord and the amazing members in there. And I have been streaming since 2022. I was on a members only live stream, and I felt like I had a weak and vulnerable moment myself, and I made a bad decision. One that I'm unhappy that I made, and I'm really sorry for. I bought a ring. I'm laughing because I'm nervous, but like I bought a ring from the rep, and the live stream's still up. It's been members only. One of my members ended up sending it to somebody who commented on it publicly, and so I initially had talked about it, but when I go back and watch the live, I can see myself like going through the like, oh, that was a bad thing I did. And I think I'm happy to have a platform here to be able to say it. And I know some people on your channel don't know who I am, then they don't watch me, or maybe they used to and then they stopped because of this situation. That I see it as a mistake. I'm sorry that I broke the trust with my own audience, especially people who've gotten out of MLMs. And I've said this a lot because I stream a lot, and I know not everyone follows it, but I think the best thing I can do is to not do the same thing again, and to be able to show you like my intent and not doing that again by just changed behavior and not putting myself in that situation again, by reacting to someone that I have a lot of empathy for and emotion involved. And I the one thing, and I'm long-winded, but the one thing that I felt when that happened was I can see how people get caught up in buying from their family and friends. And I think that is a mistake, because I feel like what I did was a mistake, because in live chat while this was happening on my members only stream was telling me like, hey, I think this is a bad idea. And I love that there were so many people that had conversations with me when it happened during the live chat, had behind the scenes, had conversations, and some of them were productive and we kind of stayed friends, and some of them weren't. Like, but there were, if y'all are wondering like, what did your favorite creator think of it, they've probably talked to me about it. And so I don't want y'all to think that people are ignoring it or anything like that. They wanted to check in and see where my thought process was, and I'm happy that I've gotten a chance to like stream with Erin again. I think that she was really passionate about protecting her chat, like she said earlier, and letting y'all know who she's streaming with and my track record. And I'm happy that y'all can have that upfront knowledge now before we get into this. And I'm happy to answer any questions if y'all have any. So
yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think we need to take any questions. That's just my opinion, but this is the first time that we've addressed it, or that we've live streamed. And so I just wanted to re-emphasize that this is a safe place for people, and it will always be a safe place for people. And somebody said in the comments, we're human, and we're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. And the best that we can do is apologize and learn from it. And so that was really kind of what DeeCee and I talked about privately that we wanted to address here. And so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
that's all we want to say.
Answer questions. Like, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse or anything like that. If you, when I say like the community that I built on my channel is really important to me. I know it's in a parasocial kind of way. I don't take it lightly that when you leave MLMs, how vulnerable you are and like the questions you have, and like having somebody who you watch do something that you've stepped away from can really be, it can be a mind meld. It can be really twisty. So if you have questions that you want to ask me privately, you can email me or you can DM me. I'm happy to do that. And then we're going to wreck Doug and Thea Wood today. So
We really are.
we just
We
wanted to like
really
let y'all
are.
know. We wanted to let y'all know, and out of respect for Erin's audience and her platform and her track record of being such a ethical, open creator, I'm absolutely like happy to, I don't know, like apologize and say I'm sorry, because like it's something that I wouldn't want to do in the future again. And I'm happy
Yeah.
to have had the space to like process it. And
Yeah.
thank you for giving me a corner of time to do that. So thank you.
I mean, we're human, so it takes us time to process things. So,
Sure.
and I'm going to make mistakes too, guys. So, you know, it is what it is. And we just got to do the best that we can, apologize from it. But can we talk about Doug and Thea Wood?
Oh, heck yeah.
Because
Doug and Thea. So we found a podcast and it's
you
wild.
found the podcast.
Yes, but like I only know who Doug and Thea are because last year, was it last year? Erin, oh, I'm paused again. I'm gonna fix this. Hold on. Sorry. Quit. Yikes. Yep.
Let's
It's
wreck
the
Doug and Thea.
She did this. You reacted to their travel camper across America
God.
tour thing, and I was like, what in the Sam Hill? What are these people doing? It's like, oh, y'all are the best. Yeah. And so then that's how I found Doug and Thea. And then we found out all of their culty conferences they do. And that's why Kevin Tinter, that's why we always play because he's on my channel, because Kevin Tinter hates them. So Kevin Tinter is on
The
Doug's team.
content that has
Yes.
come from all of this on so many channels is incredible.
Yes.
So this podcast is called Doug and Thea Unplugged. And DeeCee made the thumbnail, obviously, because she's incredible. And it's called we're calling it Unplugged or Unhinged.
Yes.
I'm going to say it's probably
I love
unhinged. I do too. I'm going to say unhinged though, because I do feel like his posts lately and Dan Valentine, they are unhinged.
Yeah, it's freaking wild. And if you don't know who Doug is, he's in multi-level marketing. He's in Optavia. He has a very big view of himself. He's an author. He wrote a book called Church Boy to Millionaire, which is twisty as hell. And he likes to go recruit at churches for his downline. Yes.
Mm-mm.
There's a video of him doing that. And they have a very twisty understanding of how the human body works. So our science besties in the chat, you're going to have a wild time. So
Indeed.
Probably content warning, religious manipulation, misinformation about the body and how like why it holds on to like fat and stuff, and using, I don't know, it's just content warning, multi-level marketing, like it's a lot. The only thing I don't think that they go over is trauma, because I did skim through this because we shortened it because it's Doug and Thea. So we didn't cut out anything. We only cut out pauses and some filler words like and those type of things, and then I sped it up 10%. So here we are.
Perfection.
Yes, Ruby.
Thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. Also, content warning, optavia, because anytime I'm talking about it on my channel, there's going to be, disordered eating or eating disorders, emotional manipulation, straight up misinformation in general when it comes to the physiology of the body, terrible relationship with food, manipulation using the size of your waist, the number on the scale. It could go on and on. So just prepare yourself
Mhm.
for all of that stuff. I have not listened to this. DC has listened to bits and pieces of it. So just if it ever gets to be too much, feel free to hop out and come back
Yep.
in when and if you feel ready for that. So, and if you haven't already, if y'all would like to stream and subscribe to both of our channels, that would be incredible because we are streaming on 2 different channels. So we appreciate y'all.
Sweet.
Okay. Well, shall we get started?
Let's go.
You're going to get full facial expressions here, and
I
you're going to hear the
so
audio.
for it.
I'm not responsible for my facial expressions, okay? And you'll just hear the audio of the podcast. It's not a video, so
Yeah.
it's not a video, right? It's an
Correct. I
audio?
couldn't find the video because they're not even on they're not even on Spotify from what I can find, or they don't know how to. I typed in so many different combinations of this, so I just downloaded it off of Apple Podcasts and then I put a picture on it so we could share it to StreamYard. So we get to enjoy
And
Aaron.
do you want to thank you. Do you want to mention that their podcast is not on Spotify?
Yes. I don't know why. Like when you make a podcast, normally you post to every podcasting platform that you can to increase the reach because you're trying to get people to listen to it where they're comfortable listening. So I have no idea. Either they haven't set it up correctly where it's not searchable on Spotify or it's not on Spotify. And their link that they have in a Tia's profile goes to Apple Podcasts. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's not anywhere else, but it's
Yeah, that's interesting. Also, we love baby snarks. Alexis,
Yes, we do.
I hope that you're doing well. Oh my God. Patricia, ma'am, sir, they, them, whatever your pronouns are. Thank you.
Let's go.
All right. I'm going to play this and DC, if you need me to pause it or whatnot, just let me know. Or can you pause it
I'll
or no?
flail around. No, I'll just flail around. I'll do a
Okay,
windshield
flail.
wiper to pause.
Okay.
So dramatic.
Anytime it has been hard for me is because I'm not committed.
Some of you are fearing finances, and you let this be your name.
Because I know what it's like to struggle, I know what it's like to win, and I continue sharing my ups and my downs with everybody.
We got on our knees and prayed. That is our weapon in the days we are living now.
The way I like to live is when God says go, you don't have to check your bank account.
God loves you so much. He has a plan and a destiny for your lives.
Personal responsibility, passion, Jesus, entrepreneurship, and guess what? Intentionality.
When you believe in you, everyone wins.
I'm taking a stand for my God, for my Jesus, for my family, for my kids' future.
Welcome back to Doug and Thea Wood Unplugged, episode 2. We're so excited to spend some time with you.
Are they using microphones?
They
Do you
are.
think?
The audio is better when I didn't speed it up. It sounds a little tingy now, but I have to say their audio wasn't as trashy as it sounds now, but I would rather listen to less of Doug and Tia than listen to them not awful. But to be fair, they had a decent, I think, microphone setup. So yes. Yeah.
Okay. Let me also say that all religions are welcome here on my channel.
Yes.
And I realize that what some of these MLM leaders do in multi-level marketing using spiritual manipulation to get their people to stay a little bit longer, order the new products or whatever, in my opinion, is not an accurate example of Christianity. And I've had many conversations with some of you privately. So I just want to be open and honest that all are welcome here. That includes everybody. So yeah, I just felt like I wanted to say that. So
yeah, I love that you had that in there because I know when I first got out and I was trying to figure life out after MLM, and it was nice to have places to land when people were specifically saying I'm raging against this. It doesn't mean that people who believe this aren't welcome here. We're raging against this idea that is toxic and that ends up hurting others. And I love like I just love having that clarity. Not everyone needs that, but I like that you have it on your channel, and I try to do it on my channel too.
Yeah, thank you. I remember that in the Discord when you were canceling your MLM account, and you and I had been talking about it privately, but I remember when you actually announced it to the Discord and everybody was like, "Oh my God." Everybody was so excited. All the members were excited. I remember that. That was a cool moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, and I probably wouldn't have left as soon as I did had it not been just. And I say this in a non-culty way, like having people like who view life differently than you do, who have different beliefs, and you say like, "Hey, you're welcome to hang out with us, even though you're still in MLM." You know what I mean? Like they're like, "We know you're
Yeah.
trying to figure stuff out," and there was no push to be like, "When are you quitting? When are you quitting? When are you quitting?" It was mostly just like, "If you have questions, we're here, and also if you want to share some animal memes, like you can do that too." And then there was
Yeah.
cheering when you left. Like it was chill, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I do think that when you are getting out of multi-level marketing and you have been taught and have seen and experienced when people leave, them being exiled from this group that's supposed to be their family or your family. They say that they're
Mhm.
family.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use your word, the twistiness of that relationship and that community. And then you're thinking about leaving and you're trying to figure out, well, what does that mean as far as my friends? What does
Yeah.
that mean? Because I just think that part of it is really, really hard, and there's so many people that get sucked into these MLMs for so many reasons, and there's very, very good humans that get sucked into multi-level marketing, and
Yeah.
it's really hard to unravel that. It's that whole ball of yarn thing, where you pull a little bit out and you're like, "Wait a second," that cognitive dissonance starts to speak up a little bit, and your gut starts to tell you, "Hey, this doesn't feel right," or, "What the hell is Brian Underwood even saying on this Zoom?" And it's like,
Yes.
I'm laughing because I was just talking with somebody today, and both of us were saying, "How did we ever listen to him? What did we write down in our notes?" Because there's so much to unravel. Anyways, I kind of went off on a
Yeah.
tangent, but I just would like to reiterate that there are very good people that get sucked into multi-level marketing. And then there's people that also really know how to manipulate those good humans, and it's really unfortunate. So, yeah.
Yeah.
You today.
What's up, baby? Let's dive right into it because you and I have been we're in a season,
Yeah.
especially when you're moving through the levels of wealth, about everything comes down to principle. And you and I, we've been married almost
Hey, Doug, can you define wealth? Because I don't think you're in a winning season, my guy.
I mean, which way are we moving in the level of wealth, Doug? Are we going up? Or are we going, down, a downward trajectory? Because have you seen
I
Optavia's
mean,
numbers? Yikes.
and they're laying people off. They're laying more people off.
What?
Mhm.
Good
Yep.
job, Optavia.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh
But it's a
my
winning
God.
season. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
Doug.
Sounds like what a coach is saying when he's trying to save his job and, they haven't won in a while. And you know what I mean? Like, oh, but we're just,
That part.
we're preparing our hearts and we're getting our attitudes right. So when we are successful, then we're going to be able to bear the weight of that success in a meaningful, like, whatever, authentic way, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you're just not a good coach.
Yeah.
This is not a good fit. Come on, dude.
It's so true.
24 years, so
Yeah.
almost happy anniversary in May.
Yeah,
24
25
years.
years we've been
24. Well, we've been together for 25.
Yeah.
What are we going to do for our 25th?
You mean together? Like, what are we going to do? What are we going to? I don't know. Some
Yeah,
travel,
something.
Switzerland.
I think we got to go back.
No, we're going to celebrate separately that we've been together for 25 years. Tia, what? What are we going to do? You mean together? No, I'm going to throw a party and you're not invited. What are you talking about? Listen,
The fact
I
they
might
didn't
be
edit this out. Oh my God. Oh, do the ASMR. I'm sorry.
I might be a little bit aggressive because I just finished lifting at the gym. And I was talking to my husband on the way home, and I was critiquing other people's driving as he was driving, not his driving, other people on the road because, and I said, "I feel like I'm aggressive because I just lifted." And he said, "That's a thing." And I said, "Oh, it is, right?" Because I definitely, probably a good time to be streaming.
Yes. We're only going to be streaming Doug and Thea after Aaron has worked out going forward. I think that is a good fit. I think it's the prep we need for these type of streams for sure.
Oh,
yes, Neffy,
man.
she's asking that on their podcast. So, yikes.
Same time.
Switzerland.
I know. We love our Switzerland.
But how did we get to Switzerland? You and I, it was 12 years into marriage where we had a true come to Jesus. Now there's seasons of come to Jesus, and then you and I were like, seriously, we got to change our ways.
That's
we're broke financially, physically. And I guess we thought we were okay spiritually, but now looking back, I see how blinded and maybe wounded from just the years of getting beat up a little bit and maybe old patterns. Or patterns that we never knew were a big deal. You know, you always focus on the big thing. You know, it's like tithing. Man, when I'm not going to tithe until I can give 10%. Like, why would I give 1 or 2%? So let's just wait until we can get to 10.
Right. Versus just start giving.
Versus just 10.
Wait, they're talking about giving monetarily to the church. Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah. So in the twistiness of the prosperity gospel that they're going to lead into, there's this belief that if you give your tithe the way that you're supposed to, i.e., generally accepted 10%, which is not necessarily like exactly what the Bible says, but that's generally the idea, 10%. And if you do that, God will reward you with money or prosperity or whatever. That's how these televangelists on TV are like, here, call in and donate, and you're going to be healed of the big C, or it's bad. If you dip your toe into the televangelist world, it gets MLM level twisty. It's bad. It's really bad. So they are thinking, they believe that tithing 10% is the thing to do, and that you do that and you'll get rewarded and blessed and stuff like that.
I didn't know there was a percentage tied to that.
Yeah. They think like if you do the 10%, and that's before taxes, from what I understand, then you're going to be spiritually blessed by God. So,
Before taxes? So like 10% of your gross pay?
Yes. Is that not twisty?
That's terrible.
In my opinion. Especially when they use that to control other people's behavior, and they use it as emotional and thought control for their congregation. That's the issue I have. Give money to whatever you believe in, but if you're getting coerced into giving money, I've got questions. And I hope you have questions if you are being pressured to give money when you can't afford to or whatever.
And that's the MLM crossover too.
Yes.
You know, order the new product, get to the event, pay for this course, do this, do that, spend this money, put it on the credit card. It's fine. Show us that you're all in. You know?
Yep.
Yikes.
And you can't tell me that Doug and Thea aren't having a crossover of religion, because we've seen it in streams before where they've produced content where they have this religious MLM crossover, and that there isn't any ideology carrying over that says if you just pay every month into Optavia like you're supposed to, and you do what you're supposed to, you're going to get your mind right and the success will come. That's the same type of underlying idea that prosperity gospel twistiness has on people who are Christian religious.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Why don't I just start being faithful and sow some seed? And so it was 2011. We were on our journey. We had already taken our health, not even next level. We had taken our health back. We had reclaimed what
took back the land.
We took back the land, but we reclaimed our temple.
Yes,
because
that's a good way to
we're
put it.
We're given this temple, and we're to be faithful to it on this side of eternity. And it does disappoint me. It means that we just talked about where we were financially, spiritually. It does disappoint me because I see so many people that, let's just say, go to church or the Christian faith, and there's all the proof sins.
That's the one that's
the
okay.
proof sin in church is obesity. And
Sir, what are you saying right now? We're not even like 10 minutes in, and there's fluffery everywhere.
Oh my God. He just said obesity and gluttony are like the number one issue. What? Excuse me? Coming from the guy who takes pictures of the medical team who's helping one of his parents and then shames them for their weight on his Facebook feed. No, sir. I think not. I think absolutely not. I think you kind of show us who you are, and I'm not here for it.
I have some questions, Doug, in case you happen to see this, or Tia. Why does it seem like this temple that you're calling your bodies, why does it seem like there are, and please know, I have nothing against having any kind of plastic surgery. You do you. Whatever makes you happy, I'm a fan of. But why don't they disclose that? Why don't some of these top leaders that allegedly have had some sort of plastic surgery done and or are taking weight loss shots, and why are they not disclosing that? Because that seems kind of odd when you're trying to say, oh, your body is your temple, and if you're obese, it's a sin. Okay, well, if you're lying, that is also a sin, Doug and Tia. And any other quote unquote leader. Y'all know when I bring out the air quotes when I say leader, that's not leadership. If you are manipulating anybody emotionally, spiritually, whatever, to do something that benefits you financially, that's not leadership. No.
Yeah. It's slimy.
Agreed.
But don't you dare, commit one of the others. And it's just a real judgmental issue. And you and I really laughed about it and let it go for a long time. But it really comes down to principle and the small things. And I know you and I in 2011, when we lost everything, we did. I mean, we didn't file bankruptcy, but we lost
We were on the
everything.
cusp. Yeah, we were about shit was up a creek. Sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, just being unplugged. It was not a fun season when we looked at the papers, right? When we had to pull the drawers open, look at our current reality and face it. Just like we had faced our health head on, and we knew, like, we had, even those first 10 years of our marriage, we never quit trying. And I think that's the biggest thing to all of you that are part of this Unplugged community is just get back up and keep contending, keep fighting forward. So we had been trying to lose the weight.
Keep contending.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yikes, dude.
Tia, your culty language, I want to say it's cute, but it's not. It's weird.
Yeah.
Keep contending. Just keep showing up.
Yeah.
Girl.
And if y'all are confused about the story, they're going to go into like what to them was losing everything. So they're going to, and they go into it for the purpose of widening their net to recruit more people into their optavia shmeem. And that's in my opinion. They're trying to go to all these different social platforms to get new pools to recruit from. And obviously, it's not a good look for someone who says optavia was the answer with food only to let it be known all the plastic surgery both of them have had, because they've been saying it's the unethical part. It's the discrepancy from like the truth to what they were actually doing. Because if you're saying the food did all that, you're wrong. You're wrong because we found out like you had plastic surgery. Fine. Okay. But you said that you achieved all of this with a packaged meal that cost $400+ a month to get. And that wasn't the case. It was the food and probably other food you weren't showing us, and plastic surgery and allegedly shots. So, okay.
And also
Doug,
working
and
with
Tia.
a bodybuilding coach.
Yep.
Like, come on.
on,
I'm
dude.
noticing
Yeah.
a pattern already. So, and they haven't even really gotten into their story. And so they lost everything. Then they found Optavia. They got their life together, right? And then now they're getting ready to open a gym. So these parts of their grift where they are trying to get into new people, the gym is the same thing. Hey, Doug and Tia, are y'all going to sell Optavia food in your gym in Scottsdale? Because Susan and I, we'll make a road trip.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
I'm speaking for
And
both
a
of us.
vlog?
Sorry, Susan.
I'm voting that Susan goes with Aaron and that y'all vlog it, and we have a little like moment for moment type of standing up to Doug and Tia's little vlog they had, because I'm sure y'all's would outperform whatever they
Can
did.
you imagine? She
I
said,
can't
I will go in
imagine.
Susan said, I will go in a heartbeat. You can stay here,
go.
Susan. That would be so fun. We're going to make this happen where Susan and I work out together at some point anyways. Also,
Oh my God. I
if
think
you guys, it would be fun. If you guys want to give Susan some love, she is in prep right now. So I think are you 4 weeks out now, Susan, from your bodybuilding show? So if you want to give her some love, because, prep.
Is her show going to be live streamed?
I don't know. Susan, do you want to share some information about your show? And she said yes, and so hungry. So if y'all could give her some love. It is temporary. Prep is temporary. That's what she tells me when we talk about this stuff. Not that I've ever done it, but we're sending you lots of love, Susan.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
We'll see. We will be cheering you on for sure. Yeah.
My chat's going wild
Get
for
that
Susan, so Susan, it's a good time over here.
She said maybe it will be. Not sure if it's live streamed. I'll link it. Okay. Yeah, let us know because we would love that.
Yeah.
I think how many weeks is she in? I'm not sure. I think she's 4 weeks out from her show though. So yeah, she's amazing.
Get that area in. We knew it was an area that we needed to get congruency in. So once we got breakthrough in that area of our life, we knew there were some fun.
We should have played culty bingo.
We should have done that.
That would have been so fun with just cult words like contend,
congruency.
I
don't know. Live chat. What other words do they always say in these calls?
Fat burn.
Yep.
They talk about a body being in fat burn is a business on fire. That's too long for a bingo square, but season. Yeah.
Mindset. Yep. Lock arms. Fill my
Pour
cup.
into.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Next time.
Yes.
Gut health. Oh my God.
Synergy.
Next time we do this.
Yes. I'm here for it. Just believe. Yes.
I'll remember. Probably not, but
alignment. Oh my God. Runner. Yes.
Yeah. Trauma dump. 100%. Wild.
Things we had to like. Okay.
Well, we finally started getting financial
connected.
wins,
yeah.
And we were able, if you don't know the story, we lost our furniture store. We felt like we were supposed to close it, even though we had 4 more years on the lease, which was over $1 million still owed to the landlord. And I knew I couldn't pay it, but I owed $250,000 in unsecured credit card and vendor debt. And, with our going out of business sale with the furniture store, we were able to pay off a lot of it. And obviously a lot of the extra income that we were making as coaches, we were able to just attack that debt, and we stayed lean, and we stayed focused.
Yep.
But we never.
Did he just say we'll stay lean? As if lean is like. I'm confused.
So it's Dave Ramsey says that word a lot, where they're running lean with their finances, but he also just dropped something I missed earlier when I was listening to it, but he said that they sold everything in the furniture store, and what they made as coaches helped them pay down their debt they had on their unsecured credit card debt and stuff like that. So that's one thing I missed earlier. And so you're right. They're dropping in a little bits of how optavia, and they're not saying it. They will not say optavia, I don't think, in this whole live stream, but they're dropping in like, oh yeah, coaches. You're an independent consultant with no experience, and you just sell food at an overpriced cost to people, and there's not really any nutritional value in it. God.
I can only imagine them as a coach. Like Susan and I do Zooms pretty much every single week, and we talk about everything. She asks how are you sleeping? How are you feeling? How are your workouts? How's your food? How's everything going? I can only imagine what a coaching call with these two knuckleheads, in my opinion. I'm saying knuckleheads because I think it's funny. And if somebody called me a knucklehead, I would laugh. Because I think it's silly.
Yeah.
But I can only imagine the information that they would share specifically around nutrition or supplements. Listen, if you are coaching people to take essential amino acids, and that is enough calories, which is like 60 calories, according to, if I remember correctly, from their ingredients on their essential amino acids that you can get from food. And you're telling people by drinking that you'll have more energy and more calories in order to work out. You are incorrect. I wanted to say something else, but I'm going to go with you are incorrect.
You've got a new member, so I think they need a shoulder smolder from the shoulder smolder queen. So
Brittany, we were just talking earlier today on Instagram too. She was like, I want to become a member. I hope you don't mind me sharing this. I want to become a member, but I'm going to wait till the live stream because I want the shoulder smolder. Welcome, Brittany. Becoming a member. I appreciate you. We'll have to play something for when people become a member on your channel since we're in my StreamYard.
Oh, we'll have to figure it out if it happens. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll find something.
We knew we didn't have a future. We had nothing to really step into next. We didn't know what was next, except we knew we wanted to coach, but it really, I mean, a couple $1,000s extra a month was huge because it was helping us attack some debt, but we had absolutely nothing.
We had nothing, but we did have, I mean, inside of us, we knew we were made for more. We knew.
Okay, fun fact that has nothing to do with this, even though her saying we knew we were made for more. First of all, stop using that to manipulate people because that's disgusting. Okay, just don't do that. But fun fact about me that you guys may not know is when I think I was in middle school, I played the alto sax. So it's kind of funny that Careless Whisper, it's kind of funny that Careless Whisper has so much saxophone in it.
Do you still know how to play?
No. I can pick up many instruments and like fiddle with it and play something, but I can't read notes. I've never been able to read notes.
I think that would be the best, like 100,000 subscriber thing on your channel if you played shoulder smolder, whatever it's called, with a sax, like rent a saxophone, and like I think that would be.
I would learn it. Can you imagine?
Drop a 1 in the chat if that would be awesome. Okay, because that would be next level. That would be so good.
We have a long ways to go.
You only have 88,000 more to go. You're basically there, Aaron. You're basically there.
Let's make it happen by tomorrow.
The ones are going wild in the chat for Aaron. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
You can teach me? Wait. Oh, all the ones are going nuts. You really?
Yes.
Isn't it your birthday, MLM? No, I thought I saw earlier something about your birthday.
It was her birthday yesterday, and I totally. It is Wendy's birthday. I think it was Wendy's birthday on Thursday. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! I saw something about it, I think, and I just remembered in the chat here. So, man, that's a lot of ones, y'all. Okay, well, we'll see about that.
Rosie, happy belated birthday too. There's a lot. There's a lot of birthdays in the chat. Happy birthday to everybody who had birthdays.
Yeah, happy birthday, guys. Good night, Lynn.
Good night, Lynn.
Knew that there was like this stirring in us, that there was something more on the other side of getting our life in all areas of our life congruent and taking back that, that stewardship in everything that we were doing. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And so we began to just do
No. How you do one thing is how you do everything. No.
Oh, they're going to give some great examples coming up. They're going to give some great examples. So if you've ever grocery shopped with a shopping cart, get ready to have your mind blown. So
you did warn me about that. And I already have a lot to say about that.
I love it.
We'll get there.
Let's go.
the small things that really matter. And maybe we can just talk about the small little things
Well,
that
the first one
actually
that I
make up for the
remember,
big things.
because we owed, even back in the day, we borrowed from my parents.
Yep.
And we made commitments to our church that we never fulfilled.
Faith harvest
Type of stuff. Or,
Yeah.
Our hearts were always in the right place. And I think you as listeners, your heart is in the right place, but there's commitments from the past that
Doug, you don't even know who's listening to you. What are you talking about? You have no idea.
Yeah, I think he's speaking from a place of he's thinking that the Holy Spirit is speaking to him, and so he's delivering a message that is for everybody. It's twisty. It's twisty, and no shade to Christians in the chat. Yes, exactly. Yes. Perfect sound effect. Perfect sound effect.
Had to
Our
do
farts
it.
are always in the right place. Sarah said that in your chat or my chat. Oh my god. That's awesome.
Oh God.
I'm willing to bet you haven't fulfilled. And I'm here to tell you today, I guess I'm here to slap you right across the face with some
I dare you.
brutality. But those
I dare you, Doug. I dare you. Because you could
Yeah,
never. We have a visitor.
I don't think you Toe Beans? Is it a Luna?
Yes. It is little Luna. Little Lunita. Come here, baby.
We need a floof break.
Come
Is
on.
she being
come here.
a loof?
She is, yeah. Lunitas,
Luna,
come here.
Luna.
Here's the baby. Here's the baby.
Oh,
Here's
the
the
I thought you were gonna
baby.
put her paw on your chin. I love when she does a little approval pat. Oh, let's go. Oh my god.
I can't look at you though when you do that. Okay, listen, in my stories this morning, this is what she likes. She likes a little pull on the neck. It looks horrible. It looks like I'm being super rough. Cat owners know. Look at her face when I do it. Like
She's
she
in
loves it.
heaven.
It looks
Oh
terrible.
my god.
Look,
She loves it. Oh my
just
god.
a little,
It must be like a
little.
massage or something. You know?
I realize how terrible but it looks, but when you have cats, you know. Like she
Yes.
The
scrub scrunch.
Yeah, she loves
Yeah.
it.
The cat owners are coming in hot in the chat. They know what you are talking about.
Y'all know. Look at her.
Oh, she's in heaven. I love this so much.
She's just a little baby.
What a good purring floof. I love her purr. She's next level. She's the best.
She has a loud
she's-
purr and she is chatty. She's a little chatty Kathy, this one.
That is hilarious. Oh my god, she's in heaven. She just needs to snug. Emery's saying my cat's is like that. Oh my gosh.
She is chatty. And it's like I don't even know how to describe it. You're nice and cozy. Did you forget? Because you look real comfortable.
What a good floof.
She's part. Oh, you okay? Okay. She's part Abyssinian.
Oh.
And I think that's how you say that, right? I don't know. I think it's Abyssinian. And apparently those types of cats are very chatty. So she's a little chatty Kathy. Huh, a little chatty Lunitas.
Oh. My cat Sally loves for me to aggressively scratch her backwards. She also loves to be pushed down and roughly hugged. She purrs loudly each time I do these things. That's awesome, Andy's Web. And thanks for the super chat.
That's Leo. Our Leo is like that. He just wants to sit next to you and grab the body heat that you're giving off. And he likes when you pet him rough. It's hilarious. Damn, you are.
She just wants to take a nap.
And I have her, she's like a little ball. I have both of my arms around her. She's in this little tiny little ball.
Oh.
Oh.
a
Okay, I have to
nugget.
put you
What a
down.
good floof.
I have to put you down, but we'll lay together tonight, okay? Just like we
She's not
always
having
do.
it. Oh, look, she wanted to put her paw back on your chin.
Are you done?
Oh,
Okay.
oh, she's like, no, I want to stay.
She's just a little
Shelly,
baby.
welcome. Welcome to Snarkies. Thanks so much.
Oh, we gotta play a song. We gotta play something.
Let's see.
I feel
Can
like
we let me see if you can hear this, because if you can, then we're good. But I'm not sure if you can hear it. Let's see.
Horatio Gold,
Yeah.
headmaster.
yeah.
So
Oh,
very
broken.
pleased.
Excellent.
So very pleased.
Hello, sir. Heard you wanted to see me.
I'd like to say welcome.
Here we go.
Welcome to Illyria. Welcome, 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 welcome to Illyria. I just wanted to have you in to say welcome.
All right, we're back on track. We're back on
Good, you
track
can
now.
play. I know. Sorry, guys. Sorry. That's my fault.
No,
Actually, it's
we love the squirrel trail or a cat trail. We love all the floof trails. So
that
we're
was
here for it.
definitely a floof trail.
Fulfilled commitments from the past is actually affecting your breakthrough of today.
Amen.
And that's like a load of bricks on you right now, because you're kind of like, I can't even make my mortgage next month. And like, now I have to
Attack that.
now there's really no breakthrough. And that's not what I'm saying at all.
No.
I'm just awareness.
Yeah.
When you become conscious of something that, whoa, it's a wake up call of like, whoa, how I'm doing the small things is affecting the big thing. And I might start with 20 years ago in my Taco Bell habit, I would go into Taco Bell and order.
Speaking of Taco Bell, have y'all tried the breakfast tacos?
No, are they delicious?
Listen, I highly suggest them. I mean, since Doug is bringing it up,
Yeah.
we need to try some.
You know what? If y'all end up getting one in the next week or so, you should tag us in your stories.
Yes.
We give a little howdy hey to Doug and Tia and their taco injustice of hating on Taco Bell. Just for Taco Bell. We're on the same wavelength, Jessica.
Hold on, I have the perfect sound effect for this.
Yes! Oh my god. We couldn't have planned this out better, which I didn't. It's all Aaron. Aaron is running this stream like a champ.
That was not planned. The other day on a members only live, I just started downloading a bunch of sounds and they were giving me some really great ideas. So that was one of them. So whoever suggested that, you knew this was coming. I love it.
That is incredible.
And to save a couple of bucks, I would I would order a water cup and I would fill it up with 7-Up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's clear, so they will never know. Mm-hmm. And essentially I was stealing.
It's clear, so they'll never know. Doug, we're talking about Sprite, not vodka. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
99 cents from Taco Bell. And the victim in Doug says they've got so much money, they don't need it. They'll never even notice. I give them enough money. See, you start to justify the small things, but
you're
what?
I think we're breaking Aaron's brain at the moment.
What?
Doug and Thea are.
What is?
They're basically going to be going hyper legalistic about everything. That every single small thing adds up and to why you're not being is a punishment as to why you're not being profitable in the world. It's like a twistiness of a manifestation mixed up with religion, in my opinion, because they start to build up like all of this. I was doing all these bad things, and that's why bad things were happening to me, and that doesn't account for all the people who don't do bad things and bad things happen to them. So their logic isn't logicking, in my opinion.
Yeah, and what I was hearing was, and maybe I heard it wrong, but what I was hearing was he was upset in a way because he wasn't feeling appreciated because he was spending money on Taco Bell. Like he wasn't feeling appreciated by Taco Bell for spending his money.
That could be one. That could be one way to interpret it too. They're
I don't
both
know.
twisty, and it's literally all over the place. Their podcast is so, and I love a squirrel
Yeah.
trail, and it's hard for me to follow. It's Hun logic.
Oh,
Yeah, it is Hun logic.
100% Hun logic. Also, Brittany, thank you. Let me know who got the. We have to play Careless Whisper. That has to happen. Hang on, now I got to find it because I have all these sounds now.
You can
Saxophone.
tell Aaron has rhythm, and I'm like, I like need WD-40 to like, lubricate the hinges on my elbows. Neffy got the gifted membership on your channel.
Oh, Neffy. Congratulations and welcome. What is going on, guys?
Y'all are being wild
What
in the
is-
chat, and we freaking love it. Let's go. Shoulder smolders for days.
I know, I was just trying to see if there was a comment from Neffy so I could. There's Neffy. Neffy. I may have a little bit of rhythm, at least when I was
can
younger.
tell
I
you.
did.
I can tell you do. It's all in the like how much like rhythm do your windshield wipers have? A lot. You can tell Aaron's got a lot. So I know it's okay. Yes.
We have one more. And Barry, welcome. I didn't do the hands that time. Thanks for becoming members, guys. Appreciate y'all. Oh my God. Go to a pure romance party.
Listen, Brandy Lee's been wild in the pure romance streams. I'll tell you that right now. And I wouldn't want it any other way. I wouldn't want it any other way. Also, I've learned so many things that I never knew about after pure romance onboarding. So yeah. Brandy Lee, I salute you.
Little education,
Yep.
Kid goes up and gets the 7-Up out of the machine with that water cup, and you building congruency in your life. Like, I mean, I even know now in this season of life, having a 7-year-old boy, because that's a breakthrough that we had personally, that an awareness of like, we're just being real. Like, we did it. And now our boy, he can go up and be like, oh, I'm like, no, that's a water cup.
Yep.
That's a water cup. We don't get 7-Up with that.
Or when we go.
I totally misheard what he was talking about. So he was talking about using a water cup and getting Sprite instead of water because the water cup is free. My apologies, you guys. So he was stealing. He's just moved his grift from stealing a beverage from Taco Bell and justifying it because, they have so much money, they're not going to notice. They don't care. To grifting and taking money because of his downline, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Also,
allegedly
7-Up and water look very different because 7-Up is carbonated. So most water cups at these restaurants are clear.
And I can see you putting your cup on the Sprite little spout, and it is not. Normally, they don't have the water spout on the same thing as a clear drink to avoid this, but all the people who watched you and didn't say anything, okay, fine. It's such a chicken nugget move. It is Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
About to eat even now, if someone orders an iced tea and everyone else orders water, and we know it's refillable, it's a matter. If I have more than about 2 drinks of yours, I'm now incongruent to where I have to order an iced tea. Not because they won't keep filling yours,
right?
And we're married and we can swap straws or not swap straws. The point is,
Doug, the point is you're paying for it. So if you want to take a couple drinks of your wife's drink, it's not a big deal. You're paying for it.
Yeah.
You're
And also, like, sometimes you're in a financial spot where, like, maybe you can't. We did not get sodas growing up if we even got the chance to go out to eat. We were just a lot of kids, and it was a bit, we financially tight. We just got water, which is fine. It's like, it's not the end of the world to, like, give a couple of sips to, your partner or whatever. And
yeah,
in my opinion, maybe it is to you. I just like, okay, fine. The way they're building this, though, is they're saying we saw issues and very small decisions we made. And so we started to look at every single thing in our life to like make it right and make it sin free, and then they lead up into, of course, Optavia's why like we're able to make money and be in right with God and blah blah blah. And now because we're right with the Lord, he speaks clearly to us, and because of Optavia, we have enough money to be able to go do whatever God calls us to do in the whole world. And it's like, okay, we just made a couple of jumps that didn't have bridges that maybe shouldn't be connected to where you started. Like, you're confused a little bit, in my opinion.
You know what I say to that? Show us your checks, Doug. Show us how much they have decreased.
Yes. You know what soundbite you need? You need the show me the money one from
Jerry Maguire.
Yes. That's the one you need.
Is that on here? Hold on, because I'll do that right now.
Let's go.
Stop.
Oh, I think I'm too much of a germaphobe, though. Last time I shared a drink, I got the vid, so I'm superstitious. I get that, Emery, for sure. This is also 12 years ago or 13 years ago when they were doing all this, so they've had a long journey of pivoting into sainthood or whatever they're doing now.
Yeah, I don't even like. What are they? I don't. Let me play this. Hold on. Let me play this while I'm downloading it, so we can keep going while I do this.
Principle.
It's principle.
That $1.79 matters.
It's connected to the 179,000 you want to make this next year. I mean, you guys think it's not, but it's completely connected.
We know it's true. And Tia, you're going to love, if you go back, you remember the story of summer of 2011. We had finally just closed the furniture store. Summer of 2010. We were just closed the furniture store. We walked away from it all.
Yeah.
We didn't know what was going to happen next. And we knew that by the time we closed the furniture stores, we had a lot of extra stuff. We had a lot of
so much stuff.
We just had, I mean, everything.
Dishes, pillows, candlesticks.
Had these massive
pictures.
I got it.
Let's go.
Show me the money!
Thanks for the idea.
Every time it's like, what's a disclaimer? What's your check? You can be like, show me the money. Yes, love it.
Because I bet they're decreasing. If
yes.
Optavia themselves is declining, they're laying people off, and revenue is down. You can't tell me Doug and Tia's checks aren't dropping. So Doug, just, put your money where your mouth is and show us what were you making this time last year? How about the year before? How about the year before that? How about the year before that? Show us that. I'm just curious. I'm just trying to see something is all.
Yep.
We're trying to see something.
Yep. I think the whole anti-MLM movement is trying to see something.
Yeah, agreed.
We had these massive garage sales, some for like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And our house, I know Mom and Dad's house, and I think a friend's house, because we kind of attacked the neighborhoods because there was so much stuff to sell.
It was a moving garage sale.
It was, but there was so much stuff. There was like a couple of truckloads worth of stuff, and man, garage sales were huge, and we were clearing like $4 or $5 grand from each garage sale, and that was our money. When we walked away, we didn't have a next. We knew that if we, whatever we got from these garage sales was going to buy us 5 to 6 months until I could get a job.
Yep.
You could get a job.
Yep.
We were coaching, but again, making $1 or $2 a month. That was not what we saw as our future. Maybe we wanted to be.
I have a story to tell you guys. Speaking of this comment that DeeCee put in. Okay.
Oh.
So today, and this is not any shade to this person. I'm obviously not going to tell you who I'm talking about, but I was speaking with somebody on Instagram who was sharing information with me about a top leader that's in Prove It. And this person made quite a stir when they went to Prove It from Modair. I have to tell y'all who I'm talking about. Otherwise the story won't make sense. Not the person that I was messaging, the person that person was talking about. It's the reason that I put the Randy Anderson stuff in my stories today. So this person, and I mean this in the kindest way, it made me giggle because I was like, oh God, this is great. This person was like, yeah, when Randy came to the Empire from Modair, which allegedly Randy Anderson was asked to leave Modair I don't know how accurate that is, but I find that really fascinating if that's true. Um, apparently, a lot of people in the Empire were upset because Rendy had a hand in the group of us that were terminated from Modair in us getting terminated. And this person didn't know that I was a part of that group. So as we were messaging, they said, "Oh yeah, apparently, she really made a lot of people mad when Jesse Lee let her come back or come to the Empire because she was part or she had a hand in, or however it was worded, in a bunch of people getting terminated from the previous company." And I was like, yeah, I was in that group. I was in that group. I know firsthand what Rendy did. I also have the Dropbox with all of the documents in it. I don't think I told this person that, but I have the Dropbox with all the documents from the lawsuit and the things that were submitted to Modair. Maybe I should do a video on that, but yeah. Wild, right?
I think you should. I'm biased, but like live chat, you should let us know if you want her to do a video on that, because like that would be toasty. That would be hot. That would be a fire stream.
I believe it's gonna have screenshots from the leadership chat. I'd have to go through. I haven't looked at that Dropbox in forever, but yeah, that was interesting. And that's not me shading the person I was talking to. I just want to be clear on that. It just was cute, but not in like I don't mean that in like a condescending way. It was like, yeah, I was part of that group that was terminated. So
yeah.
Shout out to that person.
Wanted it to be. We were seeing like some fruit from it, but it wasn't. We hadn't necessarily broken through into like
abundance
really
or
abundance,
wealth, or actually saw a future.
We were just in the
fun. It was
grind.
a great side hustle. It was keeping us accountable in our health.
For sure. Hustle.
But we chose, and I remember, and I thought I got everything paid.
Yeah,
I got everything paid to all the debtors, and we walked like it was so cool. Like this garage sale money was going to.
I mean, even one of the furniture dealers that we purchased from called us.
She had my cell phone number, and excuse me, I'm sorry, I was calling from my cell phone. I need to remember the story right, because this matters, and then we want to talk about you because it's principle.
Yeah,
there was a bill that had gotten lost, and it was for $17,000 to Martin Furniture in San Diego, California, and somehow it popped back up, and like I was like, where did this come from? But it was an old bill, and they couldn't get a hold of me. I disconnected all the furniture store phones. This is early cell phone days
everything
too.
up. Yeah.
So
early cell phone days.
No nothing, and this was summer of 2010. We closed it all.
2010 is not early cell phone days. Like 1990, whatever, 8 or 5 or whatever is early cell phone days. We're 15 years into cell phones at this point. Like the iPhone has already had like 5 or 6 versions come out by 2010. Like, what are you talking about?
Wow.
Oh my God, Doug.
Mm-mm.
See, you're gonna say that it's meaningful for you not to get the soda in your water cup because it's cheating, but then you're just going to misremember the details to make yourself appear like you did something better in this story. Like, I think the iPhone came out in 2003. I mean, there were cell phones in the early 90s, 95, like even maybe earlier than 95. They were big, but there was even smaller ones by 99. So come on, dude.
Let's look that up. I'm just curious. What year did cell phones come out? Just for clarity. What? The mobile phone was invented in 1973? 2010. Go off, Doug.
iPhone was 2005. Jessica said that iPhone 4 came out in 2010.
So there were 4 versions of the iPhone.
Yes. And that's back when they were making significant jumps in iPhones from version to version. It's not like what we do now with like the X and the 10 and 11 and 12 and 15 and whatever. They were like big jumps. Yeah. So you had a really good working phone in 2010. My dad had a car phone in the 80s.
Remember how big those were, for those of you that were around at that time? Shout out to my fellow Gen Xers. And they were like big and bulky.
Yep. I love how you gave yourself room for like the huge bulky phone away from your
you
head.
Have to. They were huge.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's wild.
No, excuse
Oh yeah,
me.
and bag
We had
phones.
$22,000
And what? What?
Remember bag phones?
Bag
They were in like a whole. They were like in a whole briefcase, and you put them on your shoulder like a big purse. Like they were. I think they were. What year was that? Maybe the 80s. It was a whole thing. It was a whole thing.
Whoa. Bag phones. That's wild. Wild times.
cash because I remember, or 19,000. Bottom line is, I found this bill and I'm like, Tia, what do we do? Like,
Yeah.
we're 7.
Pay it?
So if we pay this bill, which I said,
We're-
she will never know. That doesn't go against our credit report. This was like a furniture store I've done a lot of business with. We paid everything else back to them. We used to be 90, 120 days late on them with like
Yep.
$50,000.
But they always worked with us because
They
we
worked with
always
us. Yeah, they did work with us. And
Both
we sat
companies
there that
do.
summer after our last garage sale. Like literally, we were like T-money on the table, like we had stacks of cash. Like we thought we were like, our future's set. We've got 6 months of cushion. And that bill popped up somewhere.
Yeah.
And it was for $17,000, which
Yeah.
I know you are in love with 17. And we looked at each other, and before we even said it, I think you had tears, and you're like,
Yeah.
Doug, we have to pay it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are we gonna do?
Yeah. You pay.
You're gonna pay it or figure out a way to make small payments. I mean,
Yes, that's my question. What about the small payments? Couldn't you have done something where you're like, look, you call the person up on the phone, we're in bankruptcy, we found this bill, we can make $2,000 payments every quarter until we pay it back. Or if we're able to make more money, we can do it again. It's really important to us, even though we're in bankruptcy, to make you whole, but we literally don't have enough money for mortgage or eating or whatever. You could have done that. I don't know. Like, so they had 19,000 and he's about to tell you what they did, but they basically gave all the money at once. Like, and the way that they rationalize it for the audience is wild, in my opinion.
Paid it, and then
A month later,
that creditor, she called you back.
5 days later,
Yeah.
she called and said, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Doug, I know you, but like why did you send this? Like you closed your store a month or two ago. Like
Nobody does this. Nobody.
I said, cause her name was Debbie. I said, Debbie, I wish I could find her to this day, man. She was a sweet woman. I said, Debbie, it's principle.
Yeah.
And I said, I know my future's connected to this. I don't
Yeah.
know how yet. And I don't know how my family's going to make it, but I didn't pay off $250,000
Yeah.
to fall 17 short.
Right.
And I said, I answer to God,
Yeah.
not to you.
Yeah.
And that's why we paid it, because my debt is paid for my family and my future.
Yeah.
And that day, along with our story in our book, 1200 to 12,000, those two things right now are why we
They were
live
marker moments.
in the prosperity and the abundance that we do today, Tia.
1,000%. Yeah.
In that same season,
Yeah.
we stopped purchasing Taco Bell cups.
That's right.
Or
We
excuse me.
started putting the shopping cart back whenever we purchase something at Target or Safeway, wherever, or Trader Joe's. We would push the cart to our car, unload our groceries, and push it back
Everybody
to
else, amateurs,
all the way back
amateurs
into the
leave it-
store.
Amateurs leave it out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
People that basically don't want breakthrough. It's just poor stewardship. And that's what
Doug, shut up.
Or Stuart.
One of the most stressful things as a mom, I'm going to speak from my own experience, is when you have a shopping cart of groceries and you have multiple children that you're trying to get into the car, and you're like, what do I do? That is the most stressful thing for a parent.
Mhm.
And not everybody is able to push carts back all the time. There's different scenarios that could be a problem, but
And again, Doug speaking from his, not maybe necessarily like as strong. Other people he's talking about and shaming are worried. If you are a weaker person, you're worried about getting to the car safely, okay? And let's say it's hella hot, like here in Texas. Let's say it's 100 degrees out. You've just been in the store for an hour and a half. Your car's hella. Oh, it's me again. Your car is hella hot. I know. It's just my thumb. Is this it? There we go. Your car's hella hot, and so you can't leave the doors open with your kids inside because you just can't do that. It's so hot in there. And so what do? Like all of your kids go with you hand holding. We're gonna go put the cart all the way back in the grocery store, then load everybody up. Like it's not realistic for parents, in
Yeah.
my opinion, especially with additional conditions out there. And Doug can say all he wants, like, oh, when he goes to the grocery store, he can do whatever he wants. Doug, have you ever taken your kids to the grocery store? Because it comes across that you're the type of person that wouldn't do that, in my opinion. But that's me being judgmental. So what do I know?
Well, and listening to Tia go along with it, like, yeah. Tia, I know you had the same struggle as a parent with little ones, where you were
Mm.
like, these groceries, especially when finances were difficult, these groceries mean everything to our family, but these children are everything to our family. And
Yep.
having to figure out the logistics of getting everybody in the car safely and getting the groceries and unloading them. And that is probably it's so stressful, just from my own personal experience.
Yep.
That's stressful.
And Neffy said something, but when someone leaves their cart in other parking spots or places that make the employee's life harder is gross. Yes, I'm just saying, like, I think I think the reality of it's complex. And stores having the money to pay someone to be able to go out and get the carts, that's great. I would love to, like, I think it's maybe rude to leave a cart right next to somebody else's car and it scratches it. Sure, I get
Yeah.
that. I'm saying, like, if you see a mom with like or a parent, I'm sorry, if you see a parent with like multiple kids and they're trying to load up and then turn the car on or whatever to start to cool it down even before they load the kids up, like, I think that there's a dance and it's complex for some people. And to just have a blanket statement of saying you're a lazy asshole if you just leave the cart out, I just think there's more to the story. And I think Doug doesn't ever remember that in most of the times when he's talking, in my opinion.
I think
there's
that this is
Holder
a perfect I'm sorry.
That was my bad. There's a lag. My bad.
I think that this is a perfect example of blanket statements used to manipulate his audience to do what he wants them to do. This is not a black and white issue. It's a very gray issue. It's very, it's going to be different for everybody. If you're able to, the kids are older and they're able to help you load up the groceries and go with you to put the cart back, and then you all get in the car, cool. But I just think that when you are using something like this as a black and white tool to manipulate people or to shame them for, not being able to do things the way that he thinks that they should do them, I think that's really the issue in all of this. Sure, I mean, we're talking about shopping carts, but you got to look at the manipulation. What is the intention behind him saying all of this? It's because he's trying to shame people to do what he wants them to do. It feels to me like an exercise in behavior control.
Yes, and that's how it starts. Like, that's how it started for me in Young Living when they were like, "Hey, what's the problem with just swapping out your cleaning agent with what we already have at Young Living? It's clean and it's not going to give your pets an issue if they walk on it right as you cleaned it." Okay, great. You make that small concession, you start to change things out, and they say, "Well, you know what? All those products you just swapped out, they have toxic chemicals in it." And then you're like, "Oh my God, I need to get rid of more and more and more." He's pushing people into this extreme mindset of like, maybe there's room for gray. Okay. And then he's pushing them from gray and being reasonable and remembering the humanity in others to black and white. And you have to be perfect. And there's sin around every corner. And like, it's like Aaron was saying, like, it's a progression and it's part of the the bite model of authoritarian control, in my opinion.
Yep. And it's a step right into sunk cost fallacy.
Yep.
Crazy.
What it is. And I think you're a lazy person for leaving your shopping cart. I don't care if it's pouring down rain. I don't care if it's snow. I don't care if you justify it in your head. That's what they have shopping cart chaser boys out in the parking lot to do. No, that's
Well, I think you're unethical, Doug. So there's that.
your shopping cart. It goes back to the cart. It's a matter of principle. I remember Tia. Yeah, we had borrowed money from my parents at one point. That was one of the first ones we ever paid back. But I remember one of the bigger
Other
ones.
people waited to get paid for our parents to get paid back.
Yeah, because conversation
It's
is
not
different,
fun. Yeah.
and it's an awkward Thanksgiving or Christmas when you owe somebody money.
Yeah.
And I never want to have, turkey dinner while owing my parents money ever again. I look back at our time at Our Place Christian Church in Hillsboro, Oregon, and I remember they had a building fund, and back when we didn't have any money, we'd committed to $100 a month.
So it's like $1,000 or $1,200.
We paid $300.
Yeah.
And we couldn't afford to do it anymore. And then we left the church, and not because of that. We just moved on to a different place when we moved across town. And what's crazy is we met our health coach at Our Place Christian Church.
We did.
And also, I remember a couple years later.
I'm sorry. If you are recruiting into a multi-level marketing company at a church, you are unethical. That's unethical.
It absolutely
Spiritual
is.
practices, for people is a safe place. And if you are bringing in a scam and telling people that because they are obese, they are sinners in the church, that's disgusting. That is spiritual manipulation. That is unethical, Doug and Tia. Y'all are unethical, in my opinion.
I have a question. If they were so passionate about paying back the furniture vendor in California with the $17,000, and they were like, even though our store is closed, even though we're not in the furniture business anymore, we're going to pay them back. Then if you committed to paying $100 a month for 12 months towards the building fund, even if you're not part of the church anymore, why wouldn't you follow through on that commitment as well? Like, that doesn't follow the same beliefs that you had, that you were so prominently like pronouncing to us 5 minutes ago. Yep. Y'all, live chat is on point.
Yeah. Also, just to be clear, I wasn't saying MLMs outside of spiritual places of practice are ethical. They're all unethical. But to bring that into a place that's supposed to be a safe place for people to practice their religion, their spirituality, however they define that for them, is like major ick for me.
Yeah,
it's extra unethical. Thank you, Hannah. Yeah.
Yep.
Just to be clear.
It's like when someone it's like when someone does something inappropriate as a boss or a leader towards somebody that's under their influence, i.e. an employee. That's the same type of like uneasiness I feel like when you start to contaminate a spiritual place or even other places that you hang out when MLMs are invited in. It's that same twisty like, like I wasn't expecting this, and like I would have never expected this to happen, and this feels wrong. That's the type of feeling that I think about when people recruit at churches or schools or whatever. And I was the one that did that. I get it.
We were all taught that though.
Yeah.
Yep. We were taught to recruit no matter where you are. There were no boundaries. So it's not just you. I was the same way, and that's what you're taught, because you constantly have to be working to try and recruit people when you're in a multi-level marketing company.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It's terrible.
Yep.
We started looking back because realizing that our future and your future is connected to the small things, because folks, it's principle. It's principle. Some of you out there right now are making payments on the interest, and it's time to start making payments on the principle, because it's now principle. It's about doing not what's convenient, not what's easy. It's about doing what's right. So when we started making a little bit more money, we got some breakthrough. Well, let me go back to actually the story. We paid the lease. We paid the $17,000. We had $5,000.
Yep.
Remember my aunt and uncle, Wes and Paula? They called us 3 weeks later and said, Doug, do you think you could get the keys back to that place? I know you were going to walk away, because I know she was going to come sue us.
Yeah, we were back and forth between.
Well, we have a personal guarantee and a lot of trauma around leases. And I just was like, I got to give it up. Like I paying everything, but everything. We knew we couldn't fulfill that lease, and they would have to find another lender, and then they would come after us someday. And because it was non-bankruptable to that $1 million lease that was still owed. And Wes and Paula 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
When you're having a conversation with someone and you're going back and forth, Is it like you kind of have an idea, like if the other person is just waiting for you to stop talking so they can start talking? That's the vibe I'm getting from Doug because he's one, not letting Tia talk, and he continues to talk over her. It it's wild. It feels like it shows me a little bit of who Doug is. I understand there can be some interruptions with neurospiciness. I get that. There just seems to be, with the hundreds of hours I've watched of Doug Wood, that it
Ugh.
is his view of other people, not maybe, and that's just my opinion. I know there's nuance there. I'm just saying, Doug, can you just let your wife get a word in edgewise? Because guess what? It's a podcast. It's unplugged with Doug and Tia. There's your co-host should be able to speak at some point.
Yeah, I've noticed that from him when they are interacting together on whether it's this podcast or videos or whatnot. She doesn't say a whole lot, and I find that really interesting. My question, because obviously I don't know Doug, and I don't know if he's neurospicy or whatnot, but um, I wonder if it's an ego thing.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's I have all of the answers, you're going to listen to me kind of thing that we're listening to.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
it could be. And we've definitely, I guess it opens the door for questions about what the heck's going on.
I agree. Also, Ruby gifted a membership and Rescue Ninja Chris got it. So we have some celebrating to do. Hang on, now I got to find it because now I have all these new sounds. Oh, there it is. Welcome. And Ruby, thank you so much for the gifted membership. I appreciate you.
We need a shoulder smolder emote on your channel for people to like flood when they're members.
Oh, that's a
Don't
good
y'all think?
idea.
Don't we need a shoulder
How would
smolder
I?
emote on Aaron's channel? How do you upload it or make that?
Yeah,
don't
I'm
know.
just thinking of ways to make it.
Maybe text. I mean, live chat or Avery. I'm sure Avery has some great ideas. Avery's a graphic
jokes.
design boss. Yes.
She's working on some things. She's working on some new merch to go with a new website that she has made for me. Yep, so that's coming soon. Avery Joe, thank you.
Yes.
I heard my name.
We
I heard my
got
name.
the bat signal for Avery. Yes.
She's incredible.
Chelsea, did you see Chelsea's comment the way I did the shoulder smolder just now?
Yes, Chelsea, my people.
Oh, love it, love it, love it.
I love it. That's fun.
Called after we paid the $17,000. Now they didn't know none of this, and they're like, Doug, we want to put a furniture store in there. We'll pay the rent. We'll take over the lease.
Will you
but
manage
will
the
you
store?
manage the store for us? And we'll pay you. I think they paid me like $4,000 a month.
Yeah. It was like
an
God.
answer to prayer. And I know the
Fervent prayers.
17,000 was 100% tied to me getting that job.
Yes, 1,000%. I keep saying 1,000% because everything is connected. And when we began to do the little things in our life,
I mean, if everything is connected, why is Optavia going down, Doug and Tia? If everything is connected, why is your check declining, allegedly? If everything is connected, why are so many distributors, or what you guys call coaches? I refuse to call them coaches because they have no idea what they're doing. Why are they leaving? Why are you losing so many people if everything is connected? Is it because you have sin in your life? Is it because of your unethical practices, in my opinion, whether that's spiritual practices and the manipulation behind that, the emotional manipulation? I just have so many questions about it. Why would that be happening if it's all connected?
Yep.
Weird.
So strange.
Thanks, Emily.
Are you gonna
Coming
have like
soon.
a party when you, or like a little I don't know. I feel like you should have a Beachbody stream when you get your certification, and then you can like a co-stream with Brianna Jewel. You and Brianna doing like
I was just messaging Brianna today. We were talking about creatine. Yeah. Because I put a reel up in case you guys don't follow me on Instagram or just didn't see it because we're out here living our life and I love that. But one of the easiest ways that you can debunk everything that a Prove It rep is saying, especially when they're talking about their pre-workout rad line that they say has creatine and it has BCAAs, is to ask them two things. One, how much creatine is in this? Oh, you don't know? Oh, because it's a proprietary blend. Did you know, according to the NIH website, that humans, healthy adults, need 3 to 5 grams a day? So if the proprietary blend is 9.7 grams, and we know, according to the NIH website, that 3 to 5 grams is what people need that are trying to build muscle, build stronger muscle, those types of things, how much of this is actually creatine? Yeah.
Good
So that
question.
will they won't be able to answer it because it's a proprietary blend. The second thing that you can ask them is, oh, do show me the studies that BCAAs, branch chain amino acids, actually do anything other than flavor your water. Do share those studies. Oh, there haven't been any significant studies to show that BCAAs do anything according to the NIH website. That's weird. But go off with your cash grab, Prove It, and Brian Underwood.
And Blake.
Come on.
Blake's a whole moment too. Blake Mallon. I don't even know.
Well,
It,
you know Blake, he came from Visalis. Did you know that? He was the former, I think he was the CEO or the president or something of Visalis. And him and his partner Nick something has, I think it's he has a very Italian last name, and I can't remember it for the life of me. But it was Nick and Blake. And so when I was in Prove It at an event, Visalis was brought over, all of the distributors or whatever, and those two, Nick and Blake, were brought on to be like co-CEOs with Brian, but I haven't heard anything from Nick, and it's only really been Blake, so I don't know what happened there.
Nick, you want to reach out to Aaron? You wanna give us some tea? Because we love a tea time, buddy. Oh my God.
This right here, 9.7 grams of proprietary blend, by the way, with creatine being third down on the list of ingredients. I don't know what that is. IIRC? What does that mean?
We need some help. Where's the easy
help me,
button?
because there's so many smarter people than I in this chat.
If creatine did half of what they claimed it would be banned from the Olympics.
Correct.
Yep.
Oh, if I remember correctly, thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you. I'm writing it to my special notebook here. So I want to begin on the little acronym.
We're gonna write that down.
Thank God, live chat.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We're gonna put
I had a whole moment there.
We did. We both did, because I couldn't help you at all. Oh my God.
I was like, is that a source? What is that? It is a source if she recalls correctly. Oh God. We needed that laugh, I feel like.
Yes, we did.
Oh. All right, let's keep this moving.
And build that congruency. We started flexing that muscle. It was like a domino effect happened in our life. And that's why we're sharing these things as principle, and you're wanting breakthrough. This is the year.
I know I'm pausing this already, but how are they talking about how their life has been so great after they had this really terrible time because of optavia without mentioning optavia, and it's absolutely in a decline right now? Are they not putting two and two together, that if they're saying, well, our life has improved because of optavia and all the money, and we paid off debt and this and that, and it's because we were stewards of God and did what we were supposed to and paid the 10% whatever to the church, and we did all of the right things. We pushed our cart back, we took it back to the cart corral thing or whatever. We did all of the right things, and we were no longer stealing Sprite from Taco Bell. Do they not understand that people are going to go, well, then why is it all falling apart? Because if what they're trying to get people to see is that they took full spiritual accountability for their actions, and that's why they're being rewarded. Why is it being taken away?
Yep. And that's a good question. I think that they will never admit it publicly because I think that they've put in place their Christian school they've got going on, Valor or whatever its name is. The other limited book sales he's got, I think maybe they have I think they've diversified so that they can prop up their Optavia business when their Optavia business is falling apart. Maybe. Brandy Lee.
I see what you
Improved?
did there, Brandy.
Yep.
Yeah, I find it interesting when you use the same logic. I'm going to call it logic, but most of the time it's not logical. So let me use a different word. When you use what they are weaponizing and you just turn it back to them, and you're like, well, if what you're saying is true because spiritually you are, in a better place than other people and you were rewarded this, then why is it being taken away? So that's on you then, Doug and Thea, right? That's something spiritually is off balance, or, there's a problem there because it's being taken away. People are leaving your team. People are leaving the company. I don't know. It's more of the spiritual manipulation. It's just gross.
Yep.
Of breakthrough. I am proclaiming over 2024, but I have to ask you, are you putting the shopping cart away? Do you owe your parents rent money? Do you owe your sibling money? And you might not be able to do that lump sum, but just start giving.
Yes, DeeCee has something for us.
Here's my question. Okay, you're putting your shopping cart information away, but you're also using information control to recruit people into a broken compensation model. So, how is that any better than all the other stuff that you've given up? Oh, but these things, the behavior control, the information control, the thought control, the emotional control are okay because they're not technically sins in the Bible, but all the other stuff you have an issue with. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It does not make any sense. What DeeCee just said.
Paying it back. If it's $10 here, $20 there, start now to get into this life of living out of principle.
Well, and principle starts with taking personal responsibility and acknowledging and making conscious records of past.
Yeah.
And you may not be in a position to pay back what you owe to somebody that maybe you love or that you've justified that they're probably fine financially. They ain't going to miss it, which is 100% of poverty spirit, orphan spirit. And
what is poverty and orphan spirit? I've never heard that.
Ray Higdon talks about this a lot. If you're looking to get into the cultiness, the extra culty religiousness of all this stuff, you need to watch Julie Anderson's videos. She knows all about the orphan spirit. It is a offshoot, twisty theology in the Christian church. It's difficult to explain because you have to have a long period of time to explain it, but there's no theological basis in the Bible, in my opinion, for the orphan. I'm trying to get a short definition to explain it. Here we go.
So it's just basically a term that is not backed up by scripture necessarily, that he is using to get his it's behavior control using spiritual manipulation, essentially.
And they talk about it like it's an actual demonic spirit ish. So it's oh my God. I'm I'm having technical difficulties.
Wait.
Sorry.
Are they saying poverty is demonic? Is that essentially what?
I think it's a little more nuanced than that, but the orphan spirit specifically is that most people are unaware of this debilitating spirit and its effect on their emotional stability and relationships. And yes, they do classify the orphan spirit as a demonic spirit that invades a person's mind, causing them a sense of abandonment from their past hurts and experiences. Can I just recommend, encourage people to go to a licensed clinician, please? I say this passionately because they're making up all this stuff to try to solve a problem that psychiatrists and psychologists or licensed clinicians can help you with. And a demonic spirit, you just jump from like, oh my God, awful things happened to you as a kid. A psychiatrist can help you with that. No, we don't believe in psychiatrists. We're going to go with demonic spirit. What?
Yeah.
What's happening? Yeah, it's twisty.
Little Monty Python. Yes, I do have an Ew David soundbite. Hold on. I have to scroll for it.
You, David. Yes. What did orphans do to whoever coined it? Yeah.
Seriously.
Good question. It's
That's so
wild.
wild.
It's a
Yeah.
wild philosophy.
Poverty is
and
demonic.
then. Yeah. Yep.
So give me money.
Make
sense. Ooh.
Yikes. Doug, stop it. And you know what's even more wild, Aaron? Doug and Thea went to a seminary type of training back in the late 90s with other people in their Optavia team. Like, it was specifically for empowering like pastors or people who wanted to be pastors right at the 18 to 22-year-old or whatever, to go out into the world and like proclaim stuff for Christ or whatever. But like, it's this whole mindset that they picked up and now that they are sharing in their Optavia people.
Ugh.
I know I sound like a conspiracy theorist, but like, it gets twisty when you look at like the trail of stuff that they've done. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's wild. Ugh.
But you know what it is? It's a simple phone call.
Yeah.
To say, I haven't forgot.
Yep.
And I'm not in a position to do it, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm gonna skip a coffee at Starbucks next month, and I'm sending you $7.
Yep.
7. You're like, Doug, that's such a small thing. It's principle, folks.
Yep.
You're making payments on the.
I think it's really funny that Doug is sitting here talking about principle when he is in a multi-level marketing company and is making the majority of the money, and his team is not making any money. I mean, I just find it really ironic. Cue Alanis Morissette. And isn't it ironic? Because here we are. It's wild.
Yes.
A principle. The interest is what you avoided in the conversation that you're avoiding, and justify it in your head. See, you're living on the interest that is racking up, and the interest is actually what buries you. Are you getting the message?
Are you getting the message, Doug? I'd like to see what your interest is like, considering there are so many people that are in financial ruin because they participated in Optavia. I would love to see your interest because, in my opinion, people that have been on Optavia for a long period of time have disordered eating, terrible relationships with food, if not a flat out eating disorder, in my opinion. So since we're speaking of interest, I'd love to see yours, Doug, because you think that you're helping people. You've hurt a lot of people. And we're just going to continue to amplify it. We're not going to get quiet. So, show us your checks.
Show us the money. Come on.
Show us.
Show me the money!
Yes.
I love it.
I have to laugh at this because it's like, it's so ironic to me. He's saying these things and it's like, Doug, you're in a multi-level marketing company that is going downhill. You're opening a gym. You're doing all of these other things because you have to make up the money because it's dropping. We all know it.
What is interesting too, after listening to the details of the story that we've been hearing on this podcast, when he was at the conference at the church that he was speaking at, he and Thea were like, we pay the money or we pay the company that pays us. So they buy their fuelings every month, even though they don't need to eat them to be on plan anymore because they're doing other stuff. But they're like, we just buy it because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to pay the company that pays us. When he's talking about how low he was at, barely making it with, his furniture business going out of business, and then paying the $17,000 back and only having $2,000 left and only making $2,000 a month with Optavia, blah, 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 and talking about budgeting and all this other stuff. And then it feels hypocritical to say we pay the company that pays us in this whatever abundance mindset he has. And then before he was saying, yeah, sometimes we've got a budget, and he doesn't ever say that to his own audience. He's just like, buckle up and pay up or else.
Yeah, something just kind of hit me as we're sitting here talking about it. He's turning people ordering Optavia products every single month into the church tithe. Is that how you say that word?
Tithe, yep. I probably
that's what he's turning it into.
A southern drawl is like, I do tithe, but I think you can say it any way you want. But yeah, you're right. Congregation and then they're tithing. Yeah, exactly.
I've heard him talk about how he thinks that I don't remember exactly how it was worded, but essentially people should be ordering those products every single month as a thank you to their upline.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he's turning into this, well, you need to be putting 10% of your gross income back into it. But the sick part is the majority of people in this company are not making any money. And out of the spiritual manipulation from Doug or the upline, whoever we're talking about, if it's the Tinters or Dan Valentine or whoever that are telling them, hey, you should be thanking your upline. And the way that you thank them is by ordering these products, this $400 worth of products every single month. That's how you thank them for pouring into you. Yeah. So I feel like he's just taking what he learned at the church, and nothing against the church. All religions are welcome here. Or, if you don't believe in anything, that's fine too. It's all welcome here. I'm not trying to make it like a debate on that, but he's taking that he learned, and this is how he's justifying it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Gross.
Yep.
Here. Folks, it's time to start making payments on the principal. And the principal is acknowledging personal responsibility and saying, hey, I love you. I haven't forgotten about you. I'm going to do everything I can to start making payments in a couple of months. If that's what it is, it's just calling and saying, I haven't forgotten, and acknowledging the past. Because the interest is bearing you right now. The interest, when we owe and we have done things that are not congruent with who we are, it's affecting our future breakthrough. It's affecting our psychological. It's affecting our prayer life. It's affecting everything. It's affecting our psyche. That's why some of us want.
Well, he's trying to get his words together, which I can definitely relate to. I just feel like we needed to play this real quick.
I love it.
Wander around with an extra 30 pounds on us. You're like, but I know what to do. No, that is called life and stress and interest. Your body is keeping score of either the secrets or the unpaid mental debts. Yeah. And mental debts, I'm also talking about apologies. Tia, a lot of people are thinking this is about money right now. And you know what? 60% of it is. Yeah. But what about simple fact of saying, you know what? 5 years ago, I said something to you, and I know we haven't spoken a lot since. Yeah. And I can't.
Do not surprise someone with pulling up potentially a traumatic situation, and just to clear your conscience. There is this whole program here I don't know if it's in other places, but it's called Faith Walking. And it's where you go and you think about every single bad thing you have done ever and every hurt that you have acquired, and you go and make it right with people. It's similar to like AA, where you like make things right with people that you've hurt, but surprise attacking people with like, hey, remember when we were like 15 years old and you don't like being hugged, but I wanted to give you hugs. And so then you are like, you really hurt my feelings, and like you actually hurt my feelings every time we ever, it's that type of thing that there's a whole like program that people pay for in the churches here in Texas and other states. It's called Faith Walking, and they do this. And I'm just like, Give someone the respect to have a boundary, and then let them tell you, hey, I remember there's something that happened. Is there a time when we could talk? I'd like to apologize for what I did. And if they say no, fine. Give them the chance to have a boundary and respect their boundary. Yes. Yes, it's the Church of Doug and the Communion of Optavia. I mean, probably, honestly, communion would probably taste better than the Optavia fuelings, but that's
Seriously,
just me.
that juice was so good, though. The crackers, not so much, but the juice,
Yeah.
it
Yep.
always hit.
Take it back today. And maybe you might not even be sorry for what you said, but you're apologizing for how you said it.
Yeah.
Because you know that communication is the results you get, and they took it wrong, and that's on you.
Yeah. I just want to speak to something that it's the little things. Like this past week, I've been just living a life of intention in 2024 is my focus, is my like eyes fixed forward. And as I came into 2024, it's like, what are the things that matter, that move the dial forward to where I want and desire to be as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, as a daughter. And so there's some things I put into place. And so yesterday I spent a little bit of time with someone that I love near and dear. And it was principle that I knew I needed to make. You know, we can make time on our schedule for those that matter to us. And I knew I needed to make, in 2024, I needed to make time for this person that means the world to me. And there was just like, it was such a divine time because I had to say, you know, I'm sorry I didn't make time for this. You matter to me. I love you. I see you. And it's my intention. I mean, I have to go now make the daily decision to like put in a calendar and stuff like that. But it was principle. And tears just flooded out of her eyes, flooded out of my eyes. And, you know.
Why is it so dramatic? Tears just flew out of my eyes and flew out of their eyes. Why? Because you put them on the calendar, Tia? What?
Oh man, it does come
You-
across as very much a me. Like, I was so kind to like make time for this person, and that was so impactful on her that she just had a moment of how great. That's the undertone. I'm sure she actually likes her friend. I'm sure her friend actually likes her. It's just the way that you're describing it misses the mark for me.
Well, my question is this person in your downline, Tia? Because I bet they're not, and that's why now all of a sudden you're making time for them.
Good question. Yeah, very, very, very good question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm going to play this, and I'm going to use the facilities real quick, and I'll be right back. I'm going to
Sounds
take
good.
my headphones off because I had a little mishap in a members-only video where my mic was not connected. So now I'm a little weird about it. So I'm going to take my headphones off, and I'll be right back.
You know, tears break off shame, pain, witchcraft off your family. Tears break the yoke of bondage. And so when you're like, pride wants to stay there, you know, you like, I can do this on my own. But when you begin to like get outside yourself, and like pride is the biggest thing for me in my life. It is a generational beast, but I am taking it down in the name of Jesus. And I am doing the small things, just like putting the shopping cart away, just like wiping the toilet seat for the men. For me, it's like picking up my hair out of the shower. Those are the little things in my day to day that I can do. But it's also principle of like what really matters. When I'm 65, when I'm 85 years old, when I'm 95 years old, what's going to matter? And who are the people that matter to the longevity of my bloodline, of the generational blessing? And so I'm like committed in this season, the next 10 years of my life, to be intentional that the baton is passed. Your grandfather passed a powerful baton onto us, and your grandmother, both of your grandparents, as they passed into eternity, and both of my grandmas. And I feel like there's a responsibility. We are the now generation that are the mothers and the fathers to Gen Z and Generation Alpha. And we have a responsibility, and we have it inside of us to do the work. They did their work. Stop blaming them. Stop blaming them that they didn't do this and do that and do this. No, like pick up the blessing. I can pick up the blessing that my grandma's prayed. I can pick up the blessing that my parents worked hard. And that's what I take to the bank every day. I'm a hard worker. I'm going to pray like nobody's business. And God's going to do it through me. And I'm going to take intentional, everyday steps towards the vision that I have. So I want to invite you, stop reacting to life and start creating your life and doing the small things that are connected to the big vision that you have behind your eyes that you don't even think is possible for you. what if it was possible?
Yeah. I want to go back to something you just said because you were very transparent with us. You said that your biggest hang up that you fight and contend with right now is pride. What way? Because people can interpret pride any which way. I don't see you as a prideful person, Tia, but how does pride show up in your life?
I have a judgmental spirit, or I don't say sorry. I don't take personal responsibility.
What does one do when that happens? Like, because I've never seen you as like a prideful person, but pride shows up in different ways.
I feel like pride for me like manifests in my physical body. You see it like in the weight on my body. Pride manifests in my life when I'm not coachable, I'm not teachable. And especially in my parenting, like when I lash out, or when I say lash, like I raise my voice, or I'm impatient, and I go back, and the part of me where I need to take responsibility in those moments with Amaya and Caitlin and Phoenix is, Mommy messed up there. I'm sorry about that. And I'm going to get better. That's where a humble heart comes in. And
what are you, Tia, what are you talking about? That makes no sense. Sometimes parents are just tired. Sometimes we're overwhelmed. Sometimes we're stressed out. Sometimes people are going through it, let alone struggling with anxiety or depression or any of mental health in general. And you're going to sit here and say that because you raised your voice at your child when you were having a stressful moment, that's your pride? Because you have weight on your body, that's pride? I've never heard something more ignorant in my life. I'm not saying T is ignorant. I'm saying what she just said is ignorant and manipulative, and I've never heard so many wrong things.
Well, did you ever learn that in like 7th grade biology, or even human anatomy or anatomy and physiology? Like, okay, pride shows up as 20, 30, 40 pounds on your body.
No.
Because Doug kept pressing. Doug kept pushing, like, no, how does it show up? No, how does it show up? Because I've never seen you do that. How does it show up? Because he was getting her to say, oh yeah, extra weight. Excuse me, dude? Like, sir? I didn't learn that in school. I didn't. Now, I understand your body can have cortisol responses to stress and all this other stuff. I don't know all the details. But if you're saying your sin is showing up as fat on your body, step out of the room, sir. You're wrong. You're wrong. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't even. My brain is broken. It's
if
broken.
My husband, if he ever said anything about my body that has grown and delivered 2 children, not that he would ever, I can't even imagine. Like, Tia, this is sad. Like, you don't deserve this.
Yeah.
And Doug, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're going to push your wife to this point where she's no angel. Don't get me wrong. You're going to push push her to this point where she's got to come up with something. Oh, well, it shows up because of this. It shows up. No, that's not what you do to your spouse. For what? For listens?
Yeah. Ew, Doug. Absolutely not. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Just go straight to jail. I'm talking about Monopoly. Yes. Do not take me for being literal, okay? Okay.
God, so gross. I don't like it.
I mean, I don't think.
Listen, okay, this made me laugh because I've got some yams on me. I've got some glutes. So this made me kind of laugh. I've worked hard for those.
Hell yeah.
I have it all figured out. And I know I don't look as prideful out there probably as much, but it's definitely an internal thing that I'm definitely navigating this beast in a big way in the season of my life.
That's powerful. The one you talk about that here, because I think many of the listeners can relate to where pride creeps in and it does. It's an extra 20 pounds on our spirits. And that's where principle comes in. And Tia, thank you, because it's like, it's not that you have it all figured out or I have it all figured out. It's that you acknowledge that this is an area that I don't want a part of my future. Just like some of you might be in the middle of a storm right now in your marriage, in your family, in a relationship, in your business.
Yeah.
And even if you've been wronged, but you're just acknowledging like, wait a minute, I played 30% into this.
Yeah.
I played 60% into this, and I'm going to apologize, or I'm going to acknowledge the relationship and take responsibility.
Yeah.
And just say, I'm learning, I'm growing.
Well, and it's the love of God that leads us to repentance, and love casts out all fear. And so I feel like this generational beast, I can see it rear its ugly head even in the next generation. So I'm really intentional in this season to first go before God and say, God, I messed up here, like help me. And I think that's the biggest thing, when that's an area in your life that you think you have it all together, or you're right all the time. And it's like, no, I'm not right. I messed up here. I was trying to control the environment. I was, sometimes even my pride can show up in my home, and how like I need everything to be perfect, because if that's in control, then I'm in control. But actually that isn't in control. It's a false
Putting morality on whether your home is clean or not, like that is twisty. Now, is it good to have good hygiene for health reasons? Yes, meaning like we know that there is actual science about, if we can keep it clean, you're probably more likely to not get sick. That's just a thing. Now, if you're creative and you've got a lot of things going on, cool. If you have some mental health like struggles like I do, and if sometimes it's a chaos and sometimes it's not, that's cool. But if like if Tia knows like, hey, you know what? I function the best when everything has a home and everything's clean. That's okay. That's not like a bad thing. And she's like having to learn how to live with like a messy home or whatever. Like it just, I'm not explaining this right, but I don't think it's this moral thing that they're going back and forth about.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I think that this is a perfect example of what I know you and I have talked about on our channels before, about how a lot of these MLMers maintain this image. And, where you live is meant to be lived in. It's not always going to be clean. You're going to have moments where you're living in your house. You're going to have moments where you're cleaning up. And just like DeeCee was saying, maybe that has to do with your mental health impacting your energy and how you're feeling and different things that are going on in your life. And that's those cycles of living in your house and then those cycles of cleaning. I think that's a very normal thing. But when you're in a multi-level marketing company and you're a top leader, there's this emphasis on you appearing like things are perfect, like you have everything together. You got to take the perfect Instagram pictures. You got to take the perfect, whatever. You got to look like you're living this life. And the thing that I find interesting about what Tia was mentioning is that she's like, I feel like I have to have control over this. Well, I think it's much more than that. And in my opinion, I feel like it's because everything else is crumbling. I think optavia is crumbling. They're laying off people. Numbers are down. Stock is dropping. All of this stuff is happening. And there's a sense of not being able to control. And in my opinion, I feel like her mentioning this, and I don't know the time frame of when this podcast was recorded, but to me, it feels like she's trying to keep control in addition to her trying to maintain this image,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's funny that, not funny, it's interesting you're talking about how people are perceived online, or how you perceive yourself, and like classifying it with like goodness or badness or whatever, and like living up to something. And I think a similar conversation about food, food isn't like a moral good or a moral bad. Like food is food, and you can understanding what your body needs from a science perspective, understanding your body needs protein, and your body needs carbs, and your body needs fat. Like that's good to know. And I just think like it feels a lot of spillover from Doug's mentality about sinning and all this other stuff into the home space and the should it be clean or not, and I know there's some great comments coming in from the live chat about what clean is for you, and I guess my thing is, what helps you and your family function the best? Our family growing up, we're really loud, we love having fun, we love eating together, we're okay like camping out, and it's not like picked up or whatever. We've got blankets from gaming or like playing our board games. Like, that's great for us. That served our family growing up. And I know some people I grew up with, their house was spotless, and that really served their family really well. And like, it wasn't like, oh, they must be better because they're cleaner. It's like, no, it is what it is. And it's not like, wow, you're a really bad Christian if you have kind of a lived in house and you're a really bad Christian or whatever doing something else. It's just, I don't know. It just feels like it shouldn't be on the like 10 commandments list of stuff. Like, oh yeah, keep a clean home.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I don't agree with that personally.
Yeah, I agree with you.
False reality of like, if the house is perfect, then my life is perfect. No, it's not. And so just releasing a lot of that perfectionism, releasing a lot of like what matters most, like not, letting go of one thing. So that letting go of like trying to put it into words today, because I'm like in a raw place around this, but it might be letting go of that particular thing I need, that work appointment. And I can push it back an hour because going and being with Caitlin for an hour and a half for a coffee date matters most, because that's what matters most. Like, the client can wait and I can push that back to 6 p.m. tonight. What matters most is my kids and taking that time. So I'm in the thick of it with you, friends.
Gee, I think it's cool. I know you're going to close us out in a second with a blessing, but friends, it's principle. And I challenge you right now. It's early 2024. Identify the areas that you have building interest on your marriage, on your kids, on your home, on your work, on your health. The interest is adding up. And principle is just acknowledging, like, this is an area that I can't ignore and have any more awkward Thanksgivings. I can't ignore the scale. I can't ignore the tension in this home.
Wait again.
And just simply saying, I'm sorry, or I'm going to take responsibility without casting blame and without going toxic on yourself.
I would have loved so much if Tia would have taken in that moment and said, how does pride show up for you, Doug? Just like Sarah commented here. I think that would have been really powerful. But no, not the almighty Doug.
Yep. Ugh. And that's a good point too. And while you were in the bathroom, they were both talking about this idea of your bloodline and multi-generational, like breaking multi-generational stuff, but that is this kind of extreme like more fundamentalist Christian thing that I'll have to send you the links for it, but it's this idea of structuring your family and their beliefs so that they can go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 generations in the future and still be like Christian. It's extra twisty.
What in the Stepford Wives is happening?
It's so like, it's very in the culty side of it. It's just the stuff they were saying, like breaking generational curses, like establishing your bloodline, and like all this stuff that they were saying. The live chat was going wild, but I was just like, this is a lot. But it's that patriarchal type of mentality where the guy's the leader, the guy cannot, in a heteronormative, like, because they don't, I mean, in this type of Christianity, they don't do the others. You know what I'm saying? It's just heteronormative. Or there's no other choice for them if they're in it. And this patriarchy idea is that the guy is the umbrella and the protection for the family, and that they have the ability to protect their family and also set it up for like future generational twisty stuff, and that the women can't really say stuff negative about the man in public or in private.
Private? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like, you can have some conversations, but you cannot embarrass or talk negatively about or even throw something that could be a weakness. You can't even bring it up in like a social setting, because that's how much control it is in these type of high control interpersonal relationships. It's wild. Yeah.
And I feel bad for the women in that heteronormative relationship that don't have a voice. because that's what it seems like to me, that they don't have a voice necessarily under this extreme example. You know, I'm not saying that about all heteronormative relationships, but if I'm upset with my husband, he's gonna know it privately. You know, we're gonna talk about it because we're partners, because this is our household and we run it together. And I think that every household decides how they want to work. And maybe, just being devil's advocate here, maybe there's people that enjoy having that kind of an umbrella and that is what works for them. But it just, part of that makes me sad, because it makes me wonder if those women feel like they have a voice, you know?
Yeah. I don't know if they do. I would think not, because I'm talking about a sect of Christianity, more of this fundamentalist patriarchy type of stuff that we're hearing. Some of these words that they're saying are flagging for me, and like stuff I know about other groups. But yes, it is about respect, and I take it as disrespect if you are bringing something to them in public, or depending on how you bring it in private. It's very walking on eggshells. That's all I'll say. Yeah,
That
very
sounds
funny.
terrible.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that is what Christianity is by any means. I think everybody decides how they want their household to operate and the household's beliefs. But I also feel like at the end of the day, as a parent, you know, my kids are gonna decide what they believe. You know, and I think that demanding for your children to believe what you believe when it comes to like religion or spirituality, I think is an opportunity, not an opportunity. If you allow your kids to discover how they feel about stuff, I think that is a really important educational something or other. Do you know what I'm saying? I know I'm wording that kind of weird, but you know, I don't expect my kids to necessarily believe what I believe. I want them to figure out what they believe.
Yeah.
When it comes to
You're helping them learn
spirituality
how to
and those
problem
types of things.
solve. And you're helping them learn how to problem solve and figure out who they're going to be as individuals, not part of like the Borg collective. Because if they end up leaving, they don't know how to be individual. They don't know how to interact with the world, like if they're not able to make decisions and stuff like that. So that's and again, this falls under the group control. It falls on the destructive side of the bite model of authoritarian control. You can go to organizations, leaders, and individuals, and on one of the destructive side is it's not giving anybody reason to leave. The ends justify the means. There's so many things on that destructive column that we see show up in Optavia, that we see show up in Doug and Thea's team, and in Doug and Thea and Doug. But I mean, Tia too, but we see definitely some things that Doug is doing to Tia in this podcast, this interaction, that makes me think that he's has a kind of an authoritarian mindset. Yeah, I'm seeing some signs, and you can go decide for yourself. You can go to mind.com and fill out the little sheet yourself and figure it out and look to see if like it hits the markers, because I think it does.
Yeah.
It's principle, folks. If it's the small things, I was in the sauna a couple weeks ago with a gal that I see up there all the time. Well, all the time, sometimes in the sauna. And I know I follow her on Instagram, and she is, you know, from the world's eyes, and I know she is, to live in this building too. She's a successful businesswoman. But it's interesting. I can always tell when she's been there, because I'll go up to the sauna, and there's so much abundance in our offices and our home here in Scottsdale, and a lot of people are doing it right.
What?
And I'll go up in the
Doug, you are starting to sound like Brian Underwood. What are you saying?
Yep.
You're in a sauna with a woman? How does Tia feel about that? And maybe it's not really that serious of a thing, but the delivery of this feels very uncomfortable. And all you hear is Tia in the background. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Becca, you're thinking the same thing, because I was like, what?
Normally they're separated, but maybe it's a co-ed. Friending chicks on Insta.
Okay, we're all on the same wavelength, or a lot of us are. I shouldn't say all of us, because I'm like, what? I was in a sauna with another woman. She's a successful businesswoman.
Yep.
Something sounded off to me.
Oh, yes. Everything sounds off to me.
I mean, that's accurate, especially, yeah.
The sauna, and I know she's been there because the sauna's been turned on, and there's always 2 towels right in the middle, left behind, and one of them has sweat on it, and the other one, or you could tell it was used, and the other
You
one.
smell it?
How can you?
Did you smell
Hey,
it?
Doug,
Did you smell it?
how can you see sweat on a towel?
Oh my god. Ew, Doug. What the heck? I'm expecting him next to hear one thing led to another. I know. The way he told the story, I was like, oh dear God, please no. Don't worry. It's mostly G-rated. Oh,
my
God.
God. You know what's bad if
Lavender.
DeeCee and I are both saying, oh my God, at the same time.
Yep. Oh my God.
It's still rolled up. And I think, wow. And then I think to myself, I'm like, Doug, what areas in my life am I still leaving my towels out?
Yeah.
What areas of your life am I not consciously aware of? And that's what I pray. I'm like, God, reveal to me the areas that I have principle, because we have blind spots where I need to get my principle right. Because I'm thinking, God, that gal, she's got so much going for her. But there's somehow something that she thinks that the beautiful senoritas that come around and clean,
But they're amazing.
First of all,
Senoritas?
Doug,
What?
it's giving Rachel Hollis. And what makes you think I want to be relatable? Because it was part of your entire brand, Rachel Hollis. Sit down, disrespectfully us. Thank you. The senoritas, huh?
Did
Doug,
he just
do you
do a
not
racism?
realize? Yeah. The
The
senoritas that
mindset
come
that
around.
only people who clean are Mexican or Hispanic is it's an eye roll, Doug. Like, are you kidding me? No ad
I feel
hominems, no
this
ad
right
hom-
now, Hannah. I feel this so
I'm
hard.
trying so hard. I never regretted making rules on my channel more than I do right now. What a chicken! What
For
a chicken
us.
nugget! I
For
know.
us right
What a
now.
chicken nugget. Oh God! So we're just assuming cleaning personnel's ethnicity. Yep. Yes, he is.
Also, let me say that the people that do those jobs, cleaning anything, that is such hard work. And
Yep.
for him to say, oh, these senoritas that come around and clean, it sounds like Rachel Hollis saying she cleans my toilets. Disrespectful. It feels racist. It feels ignorant.
Yep.
It's offensive. I mean, I could go on, but like, what? Doug, no.
And that women would be the only people who are cleaning because cleaning is a woman's job. And also, you're going to use something to describe someone in another language that I'm guessing you don't fluently speak. If you're talking, and this is just me making an assumption, there's a distinction between senoras and senoritas. Like it's just like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna throw this word out to seem like cool and stuff. And it's like, no, you're being inconsiderate. You're being like, oh, you're just out of touch. You're so out of touch. It's mind-boggling.
Yep. But
Oh.
go off about being a Gucci cowboy, Doug.
Yeah. I should have put some Gucci on him for the cover. I missed an opportunity there. I missed a huge opportunity.
We will make
Oh,
more
God.
opportunities for that to happen.
Oh my God.
Well, I should say Doug will. So thanks for that,
Yes,
Doug.
he will. Yes, he will.
Keep posting, by the way. Keep going off in your stories. It's great. Yeah, Gucci cowboy. That's what he
calls himself that. Yeah. Yikes.
But then shows pictures of combat boots, like tying up combat boots or like working boots. And it's like, forget the Gucci, forget this. And we're like, Doug, did you not forget you just called yourself a Gucci cowboy?
Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So I love these ladies. That it's their responsibility because they come around like around 9 o'clock and they clean everything up and they kind of pick stuff up. And most people put their towels away. But I'm thinking, why does this gal think that they can be left there when they're the
And little does she know,
shoot?
little does she know that that one thing is probably the very thing. That towel is connected to the next, not even level, but because I think we focus on, we talked about the 3 levels of wealth, but beyond that, it is connected to more peace in our life. It's connected.
What, a towel? Leaving a towel that somebody is paid to pick up. That's their job. They're getting hourly pay to pick up. You're saying that the person that left the towel is not experiencing peace because they left a towel somewhere for somebody else to pick up. That just doesn't even make any sense. Also, do you know this person? Tia, have you met this person, or is this Doug's story and you're just piggybacking on this? This seems so weird to me.
Yeah, and also, like, I guess everybody who's neurospicy is screwed because if you, like, go from project to project and you, like okay, so, like, you could be installing something, like, I renovated a kitchen before, and I'll be installing something, and then I'm like, "Okay, I can't do this next piece until I do this," and then it's like, you sometimes go on a rabbit trail of stuff, and it's like, "Oh, if I didn't fully complete each part of the project, then I'm not, like, reaching the next level of manifesting money stuff," and it's like, okay, I mean, let your logic its way out because it doesn't apply to everybody, Doug. You basically just said, "Hey, these things work for me, and I just so happen to make money off of the sacrifices of other people's monetary whatever money they're spending every single month because I'm at the top of a pyramid." And then I said, "Oh, it was because I paid $17,000 back and I returned my grocery cart to the store." Okay, I mean, any scientist would say, like, let's repeat that experiment and see if it happens for other people. Oh, it didn't? I'm sorry, then it's not a law. It doesn't make you have to test it out. You can't just say it works and then nobody ever duplicates it. God.
Monty Python, the Holy Hand Grenade.
I love it.
So appropriate for this stream too.
Yep.
Connected to
Also,
more,
for neurospicy people, you can be so focused on something to not go and try new things. I'm working on crocheting and would not want to work an MLM as a side hustle. Yep. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your soundbite. My bad.
Oh no, you're good.
significance and impact and love. And so everything is connected. And as I've been just leaning into the Lord in this season of my life, I just pray that over your car, over the treadmill, wherever you're listening to this today, I just proclaim that an awakening is happening, that you're feeling the presence of the Holy Spirit, the love that pours out to you, that there's a quickening that happens. And in Isaiah 43:18-19, it says, "Forget the former things. Do not dwell in the past. Forget about how you did it yesterday." We're just saying from here forward, this is the new way. This is the new principles you're going to live by. And it says here, this is God saying, "See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it?" Watch for it today, guys. God is making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. And in Numbers 6, 24-26, this is the blessing I want to pray over you today. May the Lord.
Do we want to listen to this blessing part?
Nah. I think they're just going to do blessings and then they're going to say, after you skip over her, he's going to say like, "Oh, I need to be better at buying her flowers." And then he's going to say like, subscribe and do all the things to our social platforms. I think we've heard it enough. I don't think we need to listen to a prayer, especially one like this,
I'm just sitting here thinking because if he is saying, "Oh yeah, I need to be better about buying her flowers," but she just poured her heart out to him in all these ways that pride shows up and he's like, "Yeah, I need to be better about buying her flowers."
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. That's the kind of person or partner that you see a friend with when you're like, "Hey, we need to talk privately because like this dude or this person, it's like maybe there's some red flags there. Just a little bit. just feels like a little bit of red flags, and maybe they just didn't communicate in a way that effectively described the goodness of their love for each other. But I've seen a lot of Doug Wood. I've seen I don't know 100+ hours of him at this point,
Oh,
more than I've
easily.
ever want to watch. Like, come on, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like how he treats his wife. I don't like how his wife treats other people either. I don't like how he treats his downline. There's lots of things that it's like this kind of shows up as a pattern. And yeah, can people change? Sure. But he
Yeah.
misses like all of the I don't know, all the branches she extends him to tell him like stuff in this podcast. And he's just like, oh yeah, I need to do better at this. All right. Okay, Doug.
Yeah. I'm gonna be better about buying her flowers. Doug, you missed the mark, my guy. You missed the mark.
Yeah. Yes, you did. Dear Lord.
You airballed that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
100%. We normally, if you don't mind, we normally do Dora the Explorer. We did it at the end of awful things to react to. So if it's okay, I'll play
I was
it.
just gonna play that.
Oh, perfect. You play it. What's perfect? We have it loaded up. Let's go.
I was just gonna play that, and I
We're
was
on the
gonna,
same
yeah.
wavelength. Yes, let's go.
How
Oh
fun.
my god, we did it. That's the best
That's
when we're well,
crazy.
one you had the Taco Bell soundbite, the little ding
That was
for the Taco
perfect.
Bell part. How could that happen? And then it was a mind meld. It was a mind meld, Hannah, for sure.
It happens a
Oh,
lot with DeeCee and I. Like it's yeah, that happens often.
it's a good time. It's a good time.
Oh
Alright.
man.
What did y'all think of that? Yeah, I thought it was I think it's interesting to watch these multi-level marketing leaders do these podcasts and tell on themselves. I think
Mhm.
lots of leaders do it, and they do it more often than they think they are, and you can kind of see some of their mindset, some of their twistiness that will show up when they're talking for 30, 40, 50 minutes at a time. Brittany Dawn does it. When JL was still alive, she did it on her podcast. Of course, Doug and Tia do it. Kevin Tinter and his wife do it. It's wild.
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin, buddy. The kazoo will never die, my friend. It will never die.
Kevin. If you're really that upset about kazoos, that tells me a whole lot about you.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
need to get that clip again, and I just need to, like, play it every time before I play a
Oh,
kazoo.
it's so funny. I
Yep.
feel like this is Doug and Tia's business flatlining. I feel like they are trying to cover up. I feel like they're trying to cover it up, and they're trying to be like toxically positive about it. You know, like, oh
Mhm.
no, we're doing good. We're in the season of our life where we're, having to rebuild, and God is showing us blah blah blah. And again, believe what you guys want to believe in. That is all welcome here as far as religions and things. That's totally cool. What I'm specifically pointing out is their use of they're weaponizing what seems to be Christianity and using that in a way to try and better their finances. And they're wrapping it up in this present, trying to make it seem like everything is okay. And the numbers are showing us exactly what's happening, not just in multi-level marketing as a whole, but also specifically to Optavia. The amount of distributors they have lost this year, well, last year, the amount of value in their stock dropping, they're doing
Mm.
layoffs. They can sit up here and act like they have everything figured out and that their business is great and their life is great, but I don't think it is. And the reason that I'm saying that, I want them to be happy, don't get me wrong. I don't these are not people that like I hate or anything like that. I don't like what they're doing. I think them weaponizing religion and being a part of a multi-level marketing company and the things that Doug and Tia put in their stories, trying to make it seem like it's okay and trying to shame their team into going back to work. All of that is disgusting. But I think that they're just trying to pull the wool over everybody's eyes. And
Yeah.
facts are facts, you know?
Yes,
So,
and facts are not attacks, as you say.
indeed. Indeed. Facts are not attacks.
One of the twistier pieces about bringing Christianity, no shade to the ethical Christians in the chat at all. One of the twisty things about bringing Christianity into the MLM space is that when people start speaking up against multi-level marketing, because these are interwoven, they take it as a spiritual attack upon them. Ray Higdon does, other people.
Yep.
And so they stop looking at the numbers and the profit and loss, and they start saying the only reason that people are coming against us is because we're doing something right for the kingdom, i.e., meaning the kingdom of God, and that we should just continue on. And then they start to intersperse more religion in to make it make sense when you're losing all of your money, when you're not seeing success and like going through the valley and all this other stuff. And it's like, numbers are not demonic. If you're not making any money in something, stop giving them money. Please, please, please stop. And again, it's really hard to separate it. When I was in Young Living, I don't really, I would say I'm in limbo right now, but when I was in Young Living, all of my team were very, very intense Christians. And once you separate, when I pulled away from it, it's very much kind of an identity crisis because everything was so infiltrated in every part of your life, with religion, with business, with relationships, all this stuff. And now it's hard to separate. That's why, in my opinion, people stay long time especially when they're like, there's more aspects of their life that are woven into like the everyday of being in an MLM. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's extra twisty.
Yeah, I was going to bring up the use of family with, business partners, if you will, whatever the company calls them, and how confusing that is. And how could you question somebody that you consider your family member? Well, that person is not acting like a family member. And then even sometimes family members don't act how family members should act, So that's very that part is very, very confusing. And it takes I feel like it takes time for people to figure that out when they step away from commercial cults, religious cults. They start to question everything, and then they figure it out down the road or with the help of a professional. And that just takes time.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is you have the time. In multi-level marketing, they're always pressuring you that there's a timeline, like you have to go fast. If you don't do it now, you're never going to be able to do it. And like when you get out, like there's time to process stuff. More often, I mean, for most people, there's time. Some people are dealing with stuff where they don't have time, but like a lot of times you do, and you can take a breath and you can. And I remember one story when Erin first got out, and she was saying like, oh my God, I didn't have to do a Zoom call today. And like, I could go and like, just chill. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but you were posting on a story or you were telling us on a live stream that's like I didn't have that weighing over my head to do all this, like these nonsense tasks. And I was like, when you get out of an MLM, you have that freedom to do that.
Yeah, I remember that actually very clearly. The day after my account was closed by Prove It, I woke up and I was like, what do I want to do today? And it normally would be I would be inundated with these chaotic smoke and mirror activities, And I remember thinking to myself, whatever I want, what do I want to do today? And that was a really powerful moment for me because it was like, well, I don't have to do all of these things that I've been doing for 13 and a half years. I can do whatever I want. And maybe that whatever I want is I want to do nothing. And I remember when we first moved here to Vegas, my husband was working a lot. And so I was shouldering a lot with the move because he was working so much. And when we got here, it was like, we got here and him and I were unloading the moving van ourselves. And I finally looked at him and I said, I can't. I physically cannot do anymore. I just have to sit down because it had been months of me getting everything ready. And, Gavin was, I think, 2 at the time. And it just was a lot. And it like, all of a sudden, it was like, I physically cannot do anymore. And he was like, no problem. I got this. And I was like, okay. The reason I'm bringing that up is because after that point, it was like, and he jokes about it now. He's like, Aaron, you slept and slept and slept. You slept for weeks. And I remember very clearly after getting out of multi-level marketing and having that kind of inner dialogue, if you will. Well, what do you want to do today? Whatever I want. And maybe I don't want to do anything. Maybe that looks like playing video games again. Maybe that looks like whatever. It could be
Yeah.
nothing, And I remember sleep being one of those things because I was so exhausted. And
Yeah.
I was just burnt out doesn't even describe it. And then it's like, I feel like I got to a point where all of the shame in what I participated in and the guilt in what I participated in, and it was like, now that I didn't have that noise and I could really look at how I felt about all of it,
Mhm.
I was able to say, well, I can just deal with this or I can talk about it. And at that time, I was getting so many messages from people in Prove It. And they were like, hey, what's going on? Why are you leaving? Where have you been? Like, what's going on? And rather than answering all those messages, because I was still trying to figure it out, I was like, I'm going to put up this YouTube video. And so anyways, why am I telling you that? I don't know. It just felt like it needed to come out today. So
Yeah.
there's that. Yeah.
I think it's hope though for people who maybe feel like they're stuck in the hamster wheel of MLM and that weight of never being able to fully rest and never being able to be fully present with your family and never like being able to get that deep sleep because you're always day 1 of the month, you're running till the end of the month. Then you start over. And it's like I listen to stories like yours where you're like, hey, there's a different perspective out there. Not just because we're MLM haters, but because like you've been in 13 and a half years worth of MLMs and I was only in
Yeah.
2 of them, but it's still like it's the same mentality that like crosses over a ton of multi-level marketing. And it's like, hey, you know what? Like if you're exhausted and you're wondering like why something feels wrong, you can do something else. You can try
Yeah.
something else. And it's not dangerous to think about doing something else either. No matter what your upline says, you can consider stuff because good ideas and good business opportunities hold up to scrutiny. They all do. And they will not blow over like a whatever tower of cards like MLMs will every time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Jamie said you were so tired for so long, Aaron, the weight you didn't know you were carrying was suddenly gone.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think that it was suddenly gone. I think that was when the real work privately had to happen. I think that was when I had to have some of the conversations with people I'm still in touch with today and apologize to them. And, that was when the real work I feel like started to happen, when I had to face that, that was not easy by any means, but it needed to happen. It needed to happen.
Yeah.
Whether I was doing any of those things intentionally or not, it was still things that I did and things that I said and influence that I had over people
Mhm.
because of the position I was in within the companies, and that needed to be addressed. So
Yeah. I think your influence swung from the destructive side to the healthy constructive side because I think you still have influence and I think you're aware of the consequences and I think I'm still learning that reality myself with what I do and how it impacts people who are around me too. But I think I'm just like that's an interesting way to look at it because I think for sure you do have influence, and I think that it's a positive impact on so many people who subscribe to your channel and like in your real life and stuff like that.
thank you. That's very kind. I think that that might be because of my experience. I think that might be why I'm so careful with what I say and how I say it. And now with this becoming a certified personal trainer, I'm seeing things a little bit differently. And, it's almost like it's another door has been unlocked. And I'm like, wait, you have 9.7 grams in this? How much of that is actually creatine? And it's like the math is not mathing, but like it's another, I don't even know what to call it. I find it really interesting.
Mm.
But I do try to be
Oh,
careful.
cool.
I'm not always gonna get it right, but yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that. At what point did you realize what you were doing was harmful, before or after you got out? If before, what kept you in? I've talked about this a lot, actually. What kept me in was many of the relationships that I had, and how do I walk away from them, which is what DeeCee was talking about, the relationships, the family, that sort of manipulation that is bred into all of this. The car bonus. So I was a car earner in Prove It. So, and I still have my car, but I'm no longer in Prove It. I got out in July of 2021. Need to look at the email. July, I think, 2021. So the fear of making those payments was real. That was scary. And as far as what point did I realize what you were doing was harmful, I think that was when, and I don't know the time frame on it now because it's been several years, but probably when I started to look, just like DeeCee was talking about, at another perspective. And I started to see some anti-MLM content pop up on my For You page on TikTok. And I was like, at first I swiped by it, and I was like, no, I'm not listening to that, because you're programmed. Oh, they're a hater. Absolutely not listening to it. And then part of me was like, well, I wonder what they had to say. And I just started listening, and they were talking about front loading, and they were talking about, all of this stuff. And I'm like, that happens, and that happens. And not only did I have experience with one company, I had experience with 6 companies over 13 and a half years. So not only was I looking at, well, that happened in Prove It, that happened in Modere, that happened here. I had a lot of time to evaluate that. And so that was when I started to think, well, what am I telling my team? What am I saying to them? Are they front loading? Or what is their profit and loss statement like? And that was when the wheels started to go. And then I started to have some of these conversations, and they were like, yeah, I wasn't really making any money. I was just hanging around because I loved our team, or whatever, the community and those types of things. And I just got a message the other day from somebody that was like, listen, you're really hard on yourself, but anyways, I don't want to go into our private message, but that was what made me stick around for so long. And that was the point when I started to realize how harmful, whether that was my intention or not, being in a leadership role within multi-level marketing and influence people to what I see now as in a negative way for my own personal financial gain. And that's just really gross, but that's what it is. That's what it was, So thanks for asking that. Yeah, I started critically thinking about it. Yes, 100%. Yeah. And if you're in an MLM and you happen to be watching this, if you pause the chaos, you probably have if you were anything like me in MLM, you probably had things that you had to do as soon as you were waking up. The wheels were spinning, you were going. If you pause and you ask yourself, well, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Why do I have to get on the Zoom? Why is it so important that I go to these events when they're not really giving any business training? It's really just kind of about everybody jumping around and being happy and being exhausted and not eating. And what are we doing here? Just ask yourself why. Why are you doing this one thing? And just go from there,
And I think, like, if you're nervous about thinking about it, because like the fear of like what you're pushed into is that if you spend time entertaining thoughts that aren't positive, then you're going to contaminate yourself and you're going to contaminate others around you. No, exercising your brain and processing through something isn't going to do that. And it can be scary. It can be scary, but can I tell you on the other side of it, thinking about something like Aaron's saying critically isn't going to quote unquote contaminate you. Thinking a sad thought isn't going to contaminate you. And I know that's a weird word, but it's like that's how it felt when I was in MLM, where they're like positive or else, and they were so like that, like don't even entertain those negative people, and if you have negative people, cut them out of your life because you can't be successful with like people dragging you down. And it's like having conversations with people isn't going to drag you down. Now, is there healthy people to have conversations with? Sure, I get that, but thinking about something isn't dangerous in my opinion. When it's thinking about, is this positive for me? Is this positive for me and my family? Does what I'm doing in this position have a positive impact on the people in my downline? Does, like, you can think those thoughts and process through it. And I think that's really healthy to do.
Yeah. I want to double back just real quick on something that DeeCee brought up earlier. And if multi-level marketing were a legitimate thing that the majority of people made money on, they wouldn't have to program into their training, is this a pyramid scheme, or this is how you deal with haters? In a real legitimate thing, they would be able to answer some of the things. They would be able to give specific data showing, hey, this is a legitimate thing. I don't want to say opportunity because that's what they say, and so if somebody is reacting that way, saying, oh, they're a hater or they're this, or only listen to the people that are, within the whatever they're calling it, that lack of critical thinking is dangerous on so many issues. And just think about that. If you happen to be watching this quietly, like I was when I was in MLM and I was watching anti-MLM content, like, I can't believe they're saying this out loud, or, this is so true. This happens. Why is nobody talking about this? And just this whole kind of, I'm going to use the word awakening, like Tia was talking about. I hope you're sitting in your chair on your treadmill and you're having this awakening or whatever. Ask yourself questions. If this were a legit thing, multi-level marketing, if it were legit, they would be able to very simply answer some of the things that they're trying to steer you away from.
Yep.
100%. All right.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.
I feel like it was a good stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah. I had fun, even if live chat didn't. So I'm just kidding. I hope that live chat had a good time. I appreciate, it's always a fun time getting to stream with Erin. I love her perspective about so many things, like in life and in MLM. And thank you for letting me come on your channel. It was great for me.
Thanks. This was all your idea, and I was like, let's do it. So appreciate you making the thumbnail and all of this. I think it was a really cool conversation, many cool conversations, I should say. And if you guys haven't already, if you would like and subscribe on both of our channels, double check and make sure that you are. Thank you guys for all of your comments. Welcome to the new members on both of the channels. And thank you for the super chats and all of that good stuff, whether it was on my channel or DC's. We appreciate you. And don't join an MLM, guys.
Yep.
Don't do that. I was going to play my outro, but it feels weird because it's on both of our channels. I don't want to play my outro. So we're just going to say goodbye and appreciate y'all, and go follow us on Instagram and all the things, as the MLMers say.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks so much.
We'll chat with y'all later.
Outro.
Yeah,
All right. Goodbye.